Part 21. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 202. Boom. The golden lightsaber slashed down. Atsutsuki Kawashi looked at himself being blown into powder with dull eyes. Then Yagami Ryusuke waited for a few seconds, but did not see the resurrected figure of Atsutsuki Kawashiki again. He should really die this time, he thought. However, Yagami Ryusuke still waited there for a few minutes. After making sure that he did not see the resurrected Atsutsuki Kawashiki, he was sure that this guy was really dead. He would not be resurrected again. This resurrection ability is really shameless. If I didn't have the ability of spatial coercion, which happened to restrain Hirozaka's time and space ability, I would have been run away by him. Ryusuke Yagami said in his heart. Immediately, he looked towards the direction of the original explosion of the planet. Brush. The next second, Ryusuke Yagami exited the chakra mode of the reincarnation eye and passed directly through the red portal. Appeared in front of a huge tree stump. This thing was very similar to the heretic golem he had seen in the Akatsuki organization base. It was just several times larger than the heretic golem in the Akatsuki organization base, and its shape was also different. There are some differences, but the properties should be the same. They are all the remains of the sacred tree. That is, the body of the Ten-Tails. It's just that the Ten-Tails in the ninja world is still there, but the Ten-Tails of the heretic demon in front of me has been completely transformed. The fruit of the sacred tree was eaten by Atsutsuki Kawashiki. What a waste. Why should I eat the fruit of the sacred tree? Ryusuke Yagami was a little envious. If this was given to him, 203, the 10,000 shadow level chakra would be his. What a pity. He came a little late. Let's seal this thing, maybe it will be useful in the future. Ryusuke Yagami thought about sealing this heretic demon in the scroll. But he found that this guy was too big. It couldn't be sealed at all. Even the sealing space in his palm was not that big. What to do? Ryusuke Yagami was speechless. You can't just carry it and leave, right? By the way, I wonder if heretic golems are living creatures. Ryusuke Yagami suddenly thought to himself, and followed him to try to put it into the system's biopheromone warehouse. It turned out to be successful. This thing, still alive? So, wouldn't I be able to transform a sacred tree's entry? No, no. The fruit of the sacred tree has 10,000 shadow level chakras, and the 10-tailed seed of the sacred tree can allow people to enter the 6th level. Is the entry for the sacred tree the same as the entry for the 6th level powerhouse, which can open 3 golden entries? The more Ryusuke Yagami thought about it, the more he felt that this was possible. After all, the Ten-Tails Jinhyuriki is the 6th level of strength. And the divine tree itself grew out of the Ten-Tails as a seed, so can the conclusion that the divine tree is the 6th level be established? Regardless of whether it is true or not, you will know after you give it a try. Thought to himself. Yagami Ryusuke looked around and determined that there was nothing good, and then passed through a red portal in an instant and disappeared into the starry sky. In the ninja world, Konoha Hidden Village. Ryusuke Yagami returned to the village and was about to transform the Atsutsuki River-style entry when a pair of arms suddenly hugged him from behind. Good morning. Hongdu kissed him on the face and said with a smile. Why did you get up so early today? Ryusuke Yagami looked at Anko. Usually she would sleep until the afternoon. I have something to do today, so I have to get up early. Anko said. Although Anko is a relatively idle ninja in the village, she occasionally has some tasks to be busy with. For example, today, she has a task that she has to go out of the village to perform, which will take about half a month. Return. A mission out of the village. Yagami. Ryusuke asked her. Anko nodded, well, it will take about half a month to come back. Don't miss me too much in the past half month. Be safe along the way. Ryusuke Yagamai hugged her and said softly, if you are in danger, remember to activate the kunao I gave you. Well, I remember it. Anko nodded and rested her head on Yagamai Ryusuke's chest. Listening to his strong heartbeat, she felt full of security in her heart. Because Anko had to go out of the village to perform a mission for half a month, before she left, Yakami Ryusuke also stayed with her for a while, until the gathering time was almost up, and the two separated. After seeing Anko off, Yagamai Ryusuke was still a little worried, so he created a wooden clone and asked him to protect Anko's safety along the way. But unless you encounter that kind of fatal threat, there is no need for the wooden clone to take action. After all, Anko is also a ninja. If Ryusuke Yagamai protects her too well, Anko herself will feel a little uncomfortable. This should be foolproof. Ryusuke Yagamai thought to himself. Immediately, he took out Itsutsukigawa's share of biopheromone from the system's biopheromone warehouse, and then ordered the system to convert it. Ding! Conversion successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the talent entry, Glory of Itsutsuki, Gold, Golden 9 Megatama Samsara Gold, Power of Contract, Gold. Unsurprisingly, Itsutsukigawa's biopheromone produced 3 golden entries. Moreover, Ryusuke Yagamai found that this time the system was quite serious. The names of the 3 entries are relatively straightforward, and there are no funny entries. Certainly. This may also be because Itsutsuki Kawashiki is a character who has never appeared in the original work, and there is no plot to play with. You, the system, are not good at this either. You have to learn to create your own jokes, do you understand? Ryusuke Yagamai said with a smile. While opening the character panel, he found these 3 new golden entries. Let's take a look at the glory of Itsutsuki first. Will he give me another Itsutsuki physique? But I already have it. Ryusuke Yagamai said, clicking on the information of this entry. Glory of Itsutsuki, Gold. As a member of the Itsutsuki clan, you have guarded the glory of the Itsutsuki clan throughout your life. Anyone who dares to despise the existence of the Itsutsuki clan, you swear to eradicate them. Chakra add 1000%. The power of magic add 1000%. The power of pupil technique add 1000%. Eye power add 1000%. There are no accompanying abilities. However, the 1000% bonus attributes are really powerful. Moreover, except for the chakra attribute, which is slightly worse, the value of the other 3 attributes is extremely high. Especially the bonus to the power of the pupil technique. This property is extremely rare. It is even rarer than the magic power and eye power bonus. And this time, to read Bao's Huang novels, go to Filu Novel Network. It will be a 10-fold bonus. Ryusuke Yagamai did the math. If this was the case, wouldn't the power of his Kinrin Senbaku explode again? The red golden will reincarnation explosion is already invincible at the 6th level. It is a terrifying power that can kill gods, and other pupil techniques are also developing in this direction. Ryusuke Yagamai thought. In fact, the power of magic is not bad. With the 38 times bonus, except for a few existences in the 6 levels, few people can withstand such a lethal magic. As for ability like the High Emperor's Spiritual Master, if you press the pressure in a space, you can't move. How about the High Emperor's Spiritual Master? Even the Supreme Master is useless. It's not useful at all. I can only resist forcefully. Therefore, the ability of space coercion is really powerful. Suppress all dissent directly. The entry Glory of Itsutsuki made Ryusuke Yagamai have more expectations for the 3 golden entries transformed from Itsutsuki Kawashiki. The first entry is already so impressive, so where will the remaining 2 go? In fact, just by looking at the names, you can tell that the remaining 2 entries must be pretty good too. At least it's not rubbish. It's hard to say whether it can be as powerful as Itsutsuki's glory. Will the golden 9 Megatama Samsara eyes directly give me a pair of 9 Megatama Samsara eyes? Or is it the same as before, to allow my Samsara eye to evolve to the 9 Megatama state? Yakami Ryusuke looked at the second entry, guessing in his mind, while clicking on the entry's information. Golden 9 Megatama Samsara eye. Gold, you have a golden 9 Megatama Samsara eye. Your pupil power is unparalleled even within the Itsutsuki clan, few people can match you. Eye power add 1000%. The power of pupil technique add 1000%. Eye power recovery add 1000%. Comes with guidance on the Megatama Samsara eye. Guidelines for the Megatama Samsara eye. If you have a pair of Megatama Samsara eyes, your eyes will evolve into the Megatama Samsara eye state in a short period of time, but can they evolve to the 9 Megatama Samsara eyes? Still an unknown. It really is. Ryusuke Yagamai saw the last attached ability, and he guessed it as expected. This entry for Golden 9 Megatama Samsara eye really comes with a passive ability that allows the Samsara eye to continue to evolve. However, as mentioned above, it is still unknown whether it can evolve to the 9 Megatama Samsara eye. But at least it can definitely evolve to the Megatama Samsara eye state. It may be 3 Megatama, or it may be 6 Megatama. Or is it, a Megatama? 2 Megatama? Ryusuke Yagamai immediately equipped this entry. He had already equipped the previous entry at Itsutsuki's glory. Enjoy the bonus of 2 new entries. After equipping the item Golden 9 Megatama Samsara eyes, Yagamai Ryusuke discovered that his pair of red Samsara eyes, which had already been super slowly increasing in pupil power, increased rapidly at this time. And this speed has been increasing. Yagamai Ryusuke walked to the mirror and opened his Samsara eye. Almost a few minutes later, a black Megatama appeared in each of his 2 red Samsara eyes, in the innermost circle. A Megatama. The Megatama Samsara eye is really improving one by one. This is the first time Yagamai Ryusuke has seen the single Megatama reincarnation eye. After evolving to the single Megatama reincarnation eye, the growth of the pupil power has not stopped, but the upper limit speed has leveled off. After watching it for a while, the 2 Megatama didn't seem to be conceived so quickly, and Yagamai Ryusuke stopped paying attention to his own pair of Samsara eyes for the time being. Except for the passive ability of the Megatama Samsara eyes to guide him. The other 3 attributes of this entry are also quite powerful. It's both the power of pupils and the power of pupils. There is even a pupil power recovery speed. Sure enough, it is an entry with the 9 Megatama Samsara eye in its name. The attributes are all closely related to the Samsara eye. No attribute is irrelevant. As a result, Yagamai Ryusuke's current total pupil power bonus has reached 40 times. The power bonus of the pupil technique has also reached 30 times. 0.2. If there really is a level above the 6 paths level, Yagamai Ryusuke guessed that his current combat power has reached the standard of the level above the 6 paths level. However, because there was no target to refer to, Ryusuke Yagamai was unable to confirm it for a while. In short, compared to the peak of the 6 paths, Yagamai Ryusuke's combat power has already exceeded that by a lot. Now he can kill the peak of 6 levels as easily as killing a chicken. A golden wheel of reincarnation exploded. I'll give you seconds. Unless the opponent has the ability to be resurrected again and again, similar to the Itsutsuki River style. Speaking of which, Yagamai Ryusuke is quite envious of Itsutsuki Kawashiki's resurrection ability. Pity. This ability did not appear in the entry for Golden 9 Megatama Reincarnation Eye. Before, he was still thinking, would this entry come with this resurrection ability? Now it seems disillusioned. But it doesn't matter if he doesn't have the ability to resurrect, as long as Ryusuke Yagamai is strong enough, so powerful that no one can kill him. So what difference does it make whether it can be resurrected or not? Moreover, what is the use of resurrection like Itsutsuki River style? resurrected again and again, and then killed by him again and again. The result will only make you more desperate and miserable. I believe that when Itsutsuki Kawashiki finally died, he must have felt a sense of relief in his heart, right? Thinking about it now, Itsutsuki Kawashiki seemed to have given up on escaping in the end. This is already accepting your fate. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 203. The last one. This power of bond is, not surprisingly, an entry related to the bond ability of the Itsutsuki clan. As the representative who started the tattoo era, the power of chi is stronger than the samsara I to a certain extent, but if I can choose, of course I want them all. Ryosuke Yagami will not choose between tattoos and contact lenses. He wants contact lenses and tattoos. And now he has several contact lenses. But as for tattoos, not yet, but soon got it? Speaking of which, is fairy mode eyeshadow a type of tattoo? Ryosuke Yagami was thinking randomly in his mind, while clicking on the information about the entry power of contract. Power of contract, gold. The power of the Itsutsuki clan's contract can strengthen your strength in all aspects. With the power of contract, your future will have unlimited possibilities. You have embarked on a high-speed road to becoming a strong person. Physical fitness add 2000%. The power of the contract is add 1000%. Comes with a deed. Contract, allows you to gain the power of contract, but please note that the higher the activation level, the greater the load on the body. Before you have a strong enough body, please act according to your ability. It is indeed the power of agreement. A smile flashed in Ryosuke Yagami's eyes. Now, he has tattoos and colored contact lenses. He has gathered the two strongest powers in the ninja world. If he is not invincible, who is invincible? Low profile. Low profile. Ryosuke Yagami felt like he was so swollen that he even dared to call himself invincible. However, in this small pond in the ninja world, if he said that he was invincible, no one would dare to object, right? So, right, keep a low profile. What's wrong with me being swollen? Power of contract. This entry does not have many attributes. There are only 3 in total, but the effect is particularly powerful. The 2000% physical fitness bonus has taken Yagami Ryosuke's physique to a new level. Moreover, if you want to activate the maximum power of bond, you need a strong body as support. 24. Of course. The huge chakra can also share some of the pressure. But the main thing is to be physically strong. The body is not strong and cannot withstand the high power output of the force of contract. And Ryosuke Yagami's physique is already the best in the ninja world. The Itsutsuki Kawashiki he met before was physically stronger than him. But now, Yagami Ryosuke, who has become much stronger, thinks that he can no longer lose to Itsutsuki Kawashiki in terms of physique. The Itsutsuki River style can unlock 95% of the power of the contract. The strength can skyrocket by 14. And what about Ryosuke Yagami? Of course, it is impossible for him to unlock 95% of the power of the contract. Why? Of course it's because his power of contract is much stronger than Itsutsuki River style. 1000% bonus to the power of contract, making Ryosuke Yagami's power of contract 10 times that of Itsutsuki Gawa style. Itsutsuki Kawa style can unblock 95%, but Ryosuke Yagami can only unblock 14% at most. But the strength bonus obtained is the same. All 14. Because of Yagami Ryosuke's power of bond, every 1% before 90% represents a 100% strength bonus. And after 90%, every 1% represents a 1000% strength bonus. Just tell me if it's awesome or not. In some unknown space, a red portal suddenly appeared. Following Yagami Ryosuke's figure, he crossed the portal and appeared in this icy and snowy space. It's a bit like Kaguya Itsutsuki's ice and snow space. Ryosuke Yagamai looked around, then flew up to the height of Renmai. The power of contract, 14% unblocked. Boom. A terrifying momentum burst out from Yagamai Ryosuke's body, instantly a shockwave visible to the naked eye swept across, and even the ice on the ground 1,000 meters below was shattered. At this time, Yagamai Ryosuke also has a black tattoo pattern on his body. On his forehead, the black tattoo is like a line drawn by a single stroke. Together with the black tattoo lines on both sides of his cheeks, Ryosuke Yagamai, who is originally sunny and handsome, looks more a bit evil and weird. So strong. But it's not enough. Ryosuke Yagamai said, and his figure disappeared instantly. The next second, boom. A loud noise. 1,000-meter iceberg a few kilometers away was smashed into pieces by Ryosuke Yagamai's punch. He waved his fist in the sky, the explosive fist power reached the ground 1,000 meters below, and with a burst of earth shaking, the entire ground was blasted with a bottomless gap. What if we add the Samsara Tsanjian Chakra mode? Ryosuke Yagamai opened the single Megatama Reincarnation Eye and the Reincarnation Eye at the same time, and his eyes turned into the 3 Megatama state of the Reincarnation Eye. Just when he was about to turn on the Chakra mode of the Reincarnation Eye, he suddenly felt a tearing sensation in his body. The severe pain. This made him stop instantly. No. The limit has been reached. Ryosuke Yagamai frowned and found that if he forcibly turned on the Rinnegan Chakra mode after unlocking 14% of the power of the contract, it would only tear his body apart instantly. After all, the unsealed 14% of the power of bond has strengthened his all-round strength by 14. And turning on the Samsara Reincarnation Eye Chakra mode will strengthen it by 12 times. Although this is additive, it still reaches 26 times. It has far exceeded the limit that Kami Ryosuke's current body can withstand. As for the 800% all-round enhancement of the superimposed entry, that is the power of the entry, which can ignore the limitations of the body. It is beyond the standard and cannot be understood within common sense things. Therefore, before Ryosuke Yagamai could get 96 times the strength bonus without being unable to bear it, the power of contract and the Chakra mode of the Reincarnation Eye are different. They do not have the magical power of the entry. Therefore Ryosuke Yagamai needs to be physically strong enough to withstand such a powerful bonus. If it doesn't work, forget it. Ryosuke Yagamai didn't force it. After closing the 2 pupils, he turned around and activated the strength bonus of the 2 entries. With the 800% strength bonus, the original bonus of 14 instantly increased to 112 times. And Ryosuke Yagamai didn't feel any discomfort in his body. The system's talent entries are still strong. Ryosuke Yagamai sighed in his heart, and then his figure instantly disappeared into the sky. Then he saw countless icebergs and the earth in the entire ice and snow space, either shattering into pieces or collapsing into sinkholes. In just a few seconds, everything within 100 kilometers was completely destroyed by Ryosuke Yagamai. Only then did he stop. The ultimate strength has been improved again, but the strongest one is the Golden Rhine Tensei Blast in the Rinnegan Chakra mode. Ryosuke Yagamai thought to himself. To read cool novels, go to Feel a Novel Network. Of course, if his body can continue to strengthen, then he can activate the power of contract and the Samsara Reincarnation Eye Chakra mode at the same time in the future. This kind of power, coupled with the bonus of the entry, that is his most powerful state. What a pity. Now Ryosuke Yagamai can't do it for the time being. Returning to Konoha from the ice and snow space, Ryosuke Yagamai feels all over his body. They are all light and airy. The pressure from the Itsutsuki clan in the past seems to have disappeared in an instant. The previous Itsutsuki Kawashiki is even stronger than Itsutsuki Kagaya, and should be the strongest among the Itsutsukis who have appeared. Even the Itsutsuki Ishiki, who has been looking for the perfect container of contract, is far less powerful than the Itsutsuki Kawashiki. It can be seen that the strength of the Itsutsuki Kawashiki, even if it is placed on the Itsutsuki planet, he should be considered a member of the small group of people at the upper level of the pyramid. And Ryusuke Yagami can perform the Itsutsuki river style in an instant. Does that mean that his strength has reached the top of the pyramid on the Itsutsuki planet? Even if there are people with the same strength, he's almost there. But it's a tie at most, right? Moreover, Yagami Ryusuke hasn't grown to the limit yet. He's still far from his limit. As long as the entries can continue to transform, his limit will never be reached. Arrival. On the contrary, the Itsutsuki clan on the Itsutsuki planet will help Yagami Ryusuke to reach a higher peak. After all, each of those Itsutsukis are 6-level strength. Picking out any one of them can make him reach a higher level. Ryusuke Yagami transformed 3 golden entries. And they are either the Samsara Eye or the Power of Contract. Every time one is transformed, Ryusuke Yagami's strength will be greatly improved again. I just don't know. Planet Itsutsuki, how many members of the Itsutsuki clan are there? It would be great if there were a large number of people. But considering that Itsutsuki has always regarded itself as a clan, the number of people should not be particularly large. There are thousands or tens of thousands. It's probably as high as the sky. And are all the Itsutsukis among them 6 levels? It's really hard to say. It can't be that the newly born Itsutsukis are also 6 levels. It's impossible even if you think about it. 6-Path Sage and him, the strength of his younger brother, Itsutsuki Hamura, did not reach the 6th level when he was born. He also grew up step by step to the height of the 6th level through acquired growth. If he was born at the 6th level, then within the Itsutsuki clan, I am afraid there are many strong men above the 6th path level. The kingdom of Uzumaki, the ruins of the original Uzushio village. In a Nemean hall that had been abandoned for an unknown period of time, Orochimaru and Yakushi Kabuto finally found the information after searching for a while. Recorded death mask. Congratulations, Orochimaru-sama. Yakushi Kabuto saw the mask in Orochimaru's hand and felt the eerie aura coming from it, and he quickly congratulated him. So far we have just found the mask. Orochimaru said with a sinister smile. That's true, but Orochimaru is actually quite happy in his heart. After all, the mask has been found. Is it still far away from the technique of unsealing the corpse? As long as you give him a little time, he will definitely be able to get back the missing part of his soul. Let's go, I'll go back. Orochimaru said to Yakushi 770 Kabuto. Then the two of them left the Nemean hall. A few minutes later, a black and white figure emerged from the ground. It was the secret weapon of the Akatsuki organization. Did Orochimaru find the death mask? I hope he can work harder, and after his hands recover, he can research a stronger technique of reincarnation as soon as possible, and he can help me when the time comes. Zetsu thought, and then he got into the ground again and disappeared. From the beginning to the end. Orochimaru and Yakushi Kabuto didn't notice Zetsu's existence. In the entire ninja world, there may be Ryusuke Yagami with amazing perception who can detect Zetsu. Existence. Konoha, entrance to the village. Uzuki Zien looked at the 3 students in front of her, and then handed a certificate of leaving the village to Gangza Te and Shen Yunzu at the door. Atsuki Jounin has also started to bring new people. The two of them looked at the 4 figures drifting away and said with emotion. As Konoha's 10,000-year door gods, the two of them are almost familiar with many ninjas in the village. There are very few that they don't recognize. Konoha ninja. Unless they are some ninjas from the roots before, then they may have never seen them before and can't name them. On the other side, just when Yuki Zien took Xianglin and the 3 of them out of the village to perform the first during the mission, a wooden clone of Ryusuke Yagami was also following from a distance. The purpose was also to ensure the safety of Yujao and Xianglin. As for Sakura and Sai, Ryusuke Yagami didn't care much. Number 1 in the training ground. Ryosuke Yagami's body is exercising in the same place. He is carrying a huge iron ball, wrapped in thunder, doing squats. 10,000 squats are over. Ryosuke Yagami continues the training of 10,000 push UPS. Not far away, Hanabi, who skipped class again, was also practicing Rukun under a tree not far away. When she got tired from practicing, she stopped and looked at Yagami Ryosuke. A pair of beautiful white eyes with adoring eyes shining in it. Brother-in-law is so awesome. I will definitely be as powerful as my brother-in-law in the future. Become a powerful ninja that everyone admires. The young Hanabi already worships Ryosuke Yagami as her idol in her heart. In fact, Ryosuke Yagami's status in her heart has surpassed that of Hinata Hinatsu, her father. I don't know if Hinata Hizu knew that her second little cotton-padded jacket had begun to leak. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 204. The day's exercise was over. Silently feeling that his body seemed to have become slightly stronger, Yagami Ryosuke also smiled knowingly. Although daily exercise does not improve much physical fitness, over time, it is still a very impressive level. Moreover, this is Yagami Ryosuke's basic physical fitness. Only when the foundation is raised can greater quantitative changes be achieved with the addition of entries. Just don't know where your physical limit is. But based on Ryosuke Yagami's current life level, the upper limit of his body is far beyond that of humans in the ninja world. After all, like the Otsutsuki clan, who can reach the level of defeating the six-path Senjutsu with just a normal physique, then Yagami Ryosuke, who also has the Otsutsuki clan's physique, can also reach this height in the future. However, Ryosuke Yagami's training time was still too short after all. Compared to those members of the Otsutsuki clan who lived for thousands of years, Ryosuke Yagami, who had only lived for 13 years, could only be regarded as a little baby. So even if Ryosuke Yagami exercises so intensely every day, it still takes a long time to reach that level. Don't worry, I'm already very strong now, and it doesn't matter if it takes me 2 to 3 years or more to improve my physique. Ryosuke Yagami himself is not in a hurry. After all, his current strength is enough for him to protect what he wants to protect. Even if a strong man from the Otsutsuki clan comes to the ninja world, he has the ability to kill him. Ensure that the ninja the world will not be destroyed in the hands of these aliens. The next day, Ryosuke Yagami woke up from a deep sleep. He looked at Zien, who was lying in his arms, sleeping like a kitten, and his face was also he showed a gentle smile. Zien came back yesterday evening. This time, the first mission their new 7th team took was just an ordinary sea-level bandit suppression mission. It was not far from the village, so they could go directly to it that day. Back to the village. After returning, I happened to meet Yagami Ryosuke who had returned from training, so the two of them had a dinner together, and then took a bath in a hot spring together. I don't know if it was because the water temperature in the hot spring was too high. Zien's head was a little dizzy after soaking. She handed her most important thing to Yagami Ryosuke in a daze. Although the two of them took a bath together like this, it was not once or twice. But for the last step, Zien Yan has been hesitating. The reason for her hesitation is also very simple. There are too many women around Yagami Ryosuke. She doesn't know if she can accept it all. Even if she can accept it now, what about later? So 11 Yan has always been hesitant, even though she has been inclined to accept it in her heart. Otherwise, she would not take a bath with Yagami Ryosuke. She is not a casual woman, and she cannot take a bath with a man she doesn't like. In the hot spring pool. As for last night, I don't know if 11 Yan has really figured it out, or if he just pushed it and refused. In short, the deal is done. Even if 11 Yan regrets it now, Yagami Ryusuke cannot let her leave him. In lying quietly on the bed for a while, Ryusuke Yagami looked at Yuyan, who was sleeping soundly, while recalling the events of the past 2 years in his mind. It felt as if it happened yesterday. It was as if he closed his eyes. When you open it again, you will return to the classroom of the ninja school, and then Irika is still standing on the podium explaining those head-turning theoretical knowledge. Time flies so fast. Ryusuke Yagami gently stroked Xian's purple hair, and was filled with emotions in his heart. Unknowingly, he had grown from a lowly person who was not even a genin to the invincible ninja world he is today. The most powerful person. Even when facing aliens like the Otsutsuki clan, he can easily kill them instantly. All of this is due to his unremitting efforts. It is all due to his 10 years of hard work and cultivation. Only in this way can we achieve today's achievements. Of course, Ryusuke Yagami does not deny that the existence of the system played a certain supporting role in this process. But the assistance of the system is only one part of it. The most important thing is Yagami Ryusuke's own efforts. If he was a salty fish, he would not be as strong as he is now. He is just an ordinary shadow level. He may still be on the road to pursue the super shadow. Even now, he is already invincible at the 6th path level. Therefore, all of this illustrates the importance of hard work. Only by hard work can you gain, and only by the sweat of the past can you get the success and fame you have today. Ryusuke Yagami thought with emotion. A moment later, in the bathroom, Ryusuke Yagami finished washing up, then walked out to the kitchen and poured a glass of water. By the way, today it's time to convert Otsutsuki Sakura's entry. Ryusuke Yagami put down the empty water glass, and then took out the Otsutsuki Sakura-style biopheromone from the system's biopheromone warehouse. System, transform it. Ding. Conversion successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the talent entry, Otsutsuki Separation, Gold, Kawashi-sama's Loyal Bitch, Gold, Martyr, Gold. System, oh system, I just complimented you a few times yesterday, but today you are not serious again. Look at the 3 golden entries transformed this time. Except for the first entry, the other 2 seem a bit unserious. Especially the second entry. What is a loyal bitch? If Otsutsuki Kawashiki hadn't been dead, to be honest Ryusuke Yagami would have been a little embarrassed to equip such an entry. Fortunately, no one knows. Immediately, Yagami Ryusuke opened the character panel, found these 3 new entries, and then clicked on the first and only one that looked more serious. The Otsutsuki clan branch, Gold. You are a member of the Otsutsuki clan branch from the moment you were born. You have taken the initiative to dedicate everything you have to the people of the clan. Chakra add 1000%. Physical fitness add 1000%. Comes with Otsutsuki's physique. This entry for Otsutsuki Separation is a relatively standard golden entry. The numerical increase isn't huge, but it's not bad either. Both properties are useful. Especially the attribute that increases physical fitness is exactly what Ryusuke Yagami needs at the moment. It's the Otsutsuki physique that comes with it, which Ryusuke Yagami already has. The 2 identical physiques did not seem to cause any special changes. Even after equipping this entry, Yagami Ryusuke did not feel any difference. It means that the chakra has increased and the physical fitness has become stronger. But that's all. Not bad, at least it works. After seeing the 3 entries transformed from Otsutsuki Kawashi yesterday, Yagami Ryusuke found that his vision had become higher. Originally such a good golden entry, but now he can only get one, at least it can be used. This is probably because it is easier to go from frugality to luxury than from luxury to frugality. Then, Ryusuke Yagami clicked on the very inappropriate entry again. Sichuan style adults loyal bitch, Gold. This entry doesn't look serious at first glance, and it might have some weird attribute. Ryosuke Yagami was also mentally prepared before clicking on its message. Lord Kawashiki's loyal bitch, Gold, you are Atsutsuki Kawashiki's loyal bitch. Everything is based on Atsutsukigawa's orders. You are even willing to sacrifice your own life for it. Chakra add 1000%. Physical fitness add 1000%. Comes with damage transfer. Damage transfer, you can actively build a link with any target, and all damage suffered by the connected person will be transferred to you. To read exciting novels, go to Feel a Novel Network. Yagami Ryosuke looked at the attributes of this entry speechlessly. Can't say this entry is bad. Can only say, there is a feeling of licking a dog everywhere. The purpose of increasing chakra is to better fight for the master and resist the enemy from harming the master. The purpose of enhancing physical fitness is to be able to resist damage to the master and share firepower with the master. Not to mention the last included ability. It's already licking to the extreme. Can you transfer all the harm suffered by another person to yourself? See clearly, this is all harm. In other words, unless you die, the person you connect to with damage transfer will never die, or even be injured. This is too much. He is indeed a bitch. Ryosuke Yagami shook his head in confusion. In fact, aside from the obvious connotations of dog-licking attributes, the ability of this entry is still good. The numerical attributes are exactly the same as the previous entry. I don't know. Are all the entries for members of the Atsutsuki branch family like this? Yesterday's entries for the Atsutsuki River style all had a total bonus of 3000% at worst, and there was even one with a total bonus of 4000%, but that one the entries have no attached abilities. And today's two entries for the Atsutsuki Sakura style, both have a total bonus of 2000%. It is just 1000% less than the Atsutsuki Sakura style. I don't know if this is the clan and the branch family. What's the difference? However, in fact, this damage transfer is not completely useless. At critical moments, it can actually have a good effect. Ryosuke Yagami touched his chin and thought, if his relatives around him are in danger in the future and he is too late to help, he can use this ability. Damage transfer. The biggest advantage of this ability is that it can connect directly in seconds regardless of distance. Even if there are thousands of mountains and rivers between them, the connection can be completed in an instant. Anyway, Yagami Ryosuke's body is strong enough. Attacks that could hurt or even kill his loved ones were just scratching an itch for him. In this case, this ability can be called a magical skill. Therefore, although the name of this entry does not look very good, the properties are actually quite good. Not any worse than the previous entry. It's okay, it's useful. Ryosuke Yagami commented, and then equipped it. In this way, Ryosuke Yagami's total chakra bonus has reached an astonishing 104. Even if he has not swallowed the fruit of the sacred tree. But Ryosuke Yagami's own chakra is almost close to those of those who have swallowed the fruits of the sacred tree. You know, the chakra in his body is far from growing to the limit. For Ryosuke Yagami, who is already immortal, as he gets older, the chakra in his body will only increase. Now that he is 13 years old, his basic chakra is already so huge. If he waits until he is 23 years old, his basic chakra can even reach 5 times the current size. Above. At that time, including the bonus of the entries, Ryosuke Yagami's total chakra will be more than the existence, good one, who has swallowed a sacred tree fruit. Of course. If it is that kind of strong man who has swallowed more than one fruit of the sacred tree is another matter. With something like chakra, the more the merrier. Yagami Ryosuke said heartily, and then clicked on the last entry of Atsutsuki Sakura's style. Martyr. The name of this entry gives people a tragic feeling. A bit bleak. Anyway, it's not very good. Martyr, Gold, you have been destined to sacrifice yourself for the members of the clan from the moment you were born, so your final outcome will only be like this: you are a martyr, on the road to fulfilling your mission. You will never look back. Chakra add 1000%. Physical fitness add 1000%. Comes with. Do it again. One more chance. Some people always deserve another chance. As a martyr, you have the chance to rise again after death. But remember, you have only one such opportunity. Fuck. Ryosuke Yagami looked at this entry in surprise. The first two properties are normal. Just like the previous two entries, there is no difference at all. But in the end, the ability that comes with it is a bit powerful. Again, this is actually a resurrection ability. Although it can only be resurrected once, unlike the previous Itsutsuki River style, it can be resurrected several times. But even if there is only one chance of resurrection, it is already extremely shocking. This is resurrection. I just gave you a life. Could it be awesome? Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 205. Ryosuke Yagami also didn't expect that these three golden entries in the style of Itsutsuki Sakura would give him such a king bomb at the end. Originally, he had no hope at all. That's it for thinking about Itsutsuki Sakura Shiki, a member of the Itsutsuki branch. Not good, not bad, just average. Unexpectedly, he actually had a hidden agenda. I have to say, this hand is well hidden. Ryosuke Yagami loves it so much. I wish I could come again 10 or 8 times. No matter how many times I come, he won't dislike it. Every entry transformed by the Itsutsuki clan is rubbish. It is indeed the ceiling of the Naruto world. Amazing. Ryosuke Yagami secretly gave the Itsutsuki clan a thumbs up. This situation almost means that the entries he will convert from other members of the Itsutsuki clan in the future will probably not be as good as the Itsutsuki Sakura style. How different are the three terms transformed from the body? Maybe they are the same or possible. But the second entry is definitely different. After all, only Itsutsuki Sakura Shiki is the most loyal partner of Itsutsuki Sakura Shiki. Tisk tisk. 3 entries. Increased physical fitness by 3000%. Okay. With this kind of entry, there will be no problem with 17 or 8 more entries. Ryosuke Yagami feels the improvement in his body, and he is very happy in his heart. The power of the entry will never let him down. Of course. The entry is just an aid. Ryosuke Yagami will always believe that he can be what he is today. Achievements are due to his hard work, sweat, and blood. The entries in the system only play a small supporting role. After transforming the 3 entries of Sakura Itsutsuki, Ryosuke Yagami he also came out of the bathroom. As soon as he returned to the bedroom, he saw 11 Yan who was changing clothes. Why are you up so early? Ryosuke Yagami hugged her from behind and asked gently. I'm used to it. I always got up early in the past, but today I got up particularly late. 11 Yan gently grabbed Yagami Ryosuke's hands and replied softly. Do you have any tasks today? Ryosuke Yagami asked her. 11 Yan shook her head after hearing this. The team just completed a sea-level mission yesterday. You also know that the new Team 7 has just been established. It is now the running-in period. They need to be given some time to adapt to each other's companionship. So I gave them a day off today so that they can accumulate some insights from yesterday's mission, so that they can better cooperate with each other on the next mission. Although it is Xian's first time to lead a Jonin, it can be seen that she has done a lot of homework in advance. But speaking of it, when she was in Umbu, she was also the temporary captain of Umbu Team 7. And she is actually quite experienced in leading a team. Of course. In the past, her team members were at least above the level of Shuyunin, but now the 7th team, even if they are considered serious, can only be regarded as at best just 2.5 Chunin. Yes. Sakura can only be counted as half. This is because she has made a lot of progress in medical ninjutsu recently. Otherwise, they can't even be counted as half. And Xiangren and Sai, if so, they all indeed possess Chunin level strength. Suzuki as Pseudo-Beast's super drawing ability, as well as Kagura's inner eye of Kagura, and some ninjutsu taught to her by Ryosuke Yagami. Let them both. He has the fighting power of Chunin level. But he is lacking in experience. Especially Xiangren. Sai was at least in the route before. He went on some missions, saw blood, and killed many people with his own hands. And Xiangren's words. Except for the last time Ryosuke Yagami took her to destroy the Kusanagi village, she had never fought seriously at all. Let alone killed someone with her own hands. She had no experience in this area. Therefore, it is necessary to exercise well. Of course. If Xiangren does not want to embark on the path of ninja, Yagami Ryosuke will actually support her decision. But Xiangren does not want to become a vase beside Yagami Ryosuke. She also thought that she could occasionally help. That's why she decided to continue on the path of ninja. In this case, Yagami Ryosuke would also support her. And correspondingly, some training is naturally inevitable. Since you have a rest, let me arrange your time today. Ryosuke Yagami said. Psi, 11 yen responded softly, leaning into Ryosuke Yagami's arms, not regretting her decision last night. On the contrary, after making this decision, she felt a lot more relaxed. Maybe, she had already thought about it, but she just never took the last step. For breakfast, Yagami Ryosuke and Yujao made some at home. Although Xian's cooking skills are not as exquisite as Hong's, she can still cook some simple food easily. But Ryosuke Yagami couldn't. He is a cooking idiot, so he can only do things like handing over bowls or cutting vegetables. At least, he can still accomplish these. To be honest, Ryosuke Yagami sometimes couldn't understand why he was such a cooking idiot. He obviously followed the instructions taught by the cooking masters, and the operations were exactly the same. But the food he made was delicious, but he had the same flavor and color. After a hearty breakfast, Yagami Ryosuke took Xian's hand and went out. They have a whole day today. Ryosuke Yagami also decided to take a day off today and not exercise. After all, people can't always just know how to practice. What is the purpose of practice? Isn't it just about enjoying life? Now that you can already enjoy life, why should you continue to practice and practice again and again? Ryosuke Yagami has always believed in enjoying when you should enjoy and working hard when you should work hard. And today, it's time to enjoy. Therefore, throughout the whole day, Yagami Ryosuke stayed with 11 Yan, and the two of them went to many places. Ryosuke Yagami has Hirazaka with him, so wherever he wants to go is just a matter of thought. So the two went to many picturesque places. Upside-down waterfalls, cute animals, alien sunrises, and gorgeous aurora. Wait and see all of this in one day. On this day, it can be said that the two of them had a very fulfilling life. By the time they returned to Konoha, it was already dark in the Fire Country. The next day, after yesterday's date, 11 Yan was even more attached to Ryosuke Yagami. Even when he was sleeping, he was pestering him like an octopus, as if he was afraid that he would disappear from her side. To read cool novels, go to Feel a Novel Network. It's past 8 o'clock in the morning. In the restaurant, the two of them had a simple breakfast. Xian, I give this sword to you. I imprinted the power of shadows on it. You can use it to control these shadows to attack. After Ryosuke Yagami finished breakfast, he took out a ninja sword and handed it to 11 Yan. The power of the shadow-devouring sword is no longer very useful to Ryosuke Yagami. A strong man at the Six Paths level is not an ordinary person. Swordsmanship can kill. Although Ryosuke Yagami can think of ways to create more powerful swordsmanship, it is not necessary. It is very troublesome and time-consuming, and it may not be successful. After all, for the 6 paths level with extremely powerful vitality for the strong, no matter whether you chop off their heads with a sword or pierce the heart with a sword, you can't kill them. Therefore, the ability of the Shadow Devouring Sword is somewhat useless to Ryosuke Yagami. As for those who have been devouring shadows, to be honest, they are already too weak for Ryosuke Yagami at the moment. So Ryosuke Yagami gave this ninja sword with the ability of the Shadow Devouring Sword to Yojeo. Although Yojeo has no entry, the attributes of the shadow cannot double the strength of the shadow. However, holding this Shadow Eating Sword, she can also control those shadows and use these shadows to kill enemies. The Shadow Eating Sword has swallowed thousands of shadows. Many of them there are people with close to cage level strength. These shadows are useless to Yagami Ryosuke, but for Yojeo, they are enough to make her strength skyrocket, reaching invincible strength below cage level. Come on, let me teach you how to use it. Ryosuke Yagami taught Xian step by step, letting her learn how to control those shadows. Xian learned quickly. She immediately mastered the key points. She also liked the gift that Ryosuke Yagami gave her very much. Standing on tiptoes, 11 Yan kissed Yagami Ryosuke on the face. "Thank you, dear." Ryosuke Yagami smiled. Then the two parted at the door. Xian was going to lead Team 7 to perform the second mission. With the strength of Team 7, they could choose a relatively simple B for the second mission. Level mission. After all, 2 of the team members are both Shuyunin. Yojeo, the leading Jounin, not only has the power of a Jounin herself, but now that she holds the Shadow Eating Sword, she is invincible below the cage level. And is not afraid of being suppressed by the number of enemies. Compared with the number, is it possible that there are so many shadows of her on the opposite side? Therefore, there is no problem at all in taking on a B-level mission. At the entrance of Konoha village, Xian takes 3 of the 7th team. The students left the village to perform their missions. Almost as soon as their 7th class left, the 8th class led by Kurane Yui also left the village with the certificate of leaving the village. Now Ryosuke Yagami and the genin of this class are all they have grown up. When they just graduated last year, they could only perform some D-level tasks in the village. But now, after experiencing a Chunin exam, their strength has improved to a greater or lesser extent. You can skip at the previous adaptation stage, directly entering the official ninja career. And for real ninjas, D-level missions. That is prepared for newcomers. Even for genin, performing C-level missions is the minimum standard. After all, the C-level mission itself does not involve ninjas, and the enemies are just stronger ordinary people. For ninjas, killing them is just chopping melons and vegetables. Noon, in a small town in the Land of Fire. Led by Uzuki Xian, the 7th squad of the team arrived here. The task they accepted this time was to assassinate a spy sent by the Earth Kingdom to the Fire Kingdom. The spy was a businessman on the surface and was somewhat famous in this small town. Yes. A quite large courtyard, housing some guardians who appear to be ordinary people, but are actually ninjas. There are about a dozen guardians with genin strength in the entire courtyard, as well as some servants. At the same time, this man himself, he also has the strength above genin. For Xiangren and the others, it can be said that it is quite difficult to deal with. At this time, in the shadows outside the courtyard. Disperse. Following Xian's order, Xianglin and the 3 of them dispersed instantly, using their respective directions as starting points to sneak into the depths of the courtyard. All the targets they found along the way were killed by them. Even Xiao Sakura, this at that time, he also showed good ninja qualities. After successfully assassinating a guard with genin strength from behind, Sakura wiped the blood of Konaga and continued to move towards the depths of the courtyard silently. Sneak in. On the other side, as the leading Jonin, Yojeo has sneaked into the depths of the courtyard and found a guy with Jonin strength here. Is the mission information wrong? Xian looked at the middle-aged man meditating under the tree in the courtyard in surprise. The man was not their assassination target this time, the spy disguised as a businessman, but another strange ninja. Xian didn't know who the man was. But it's not important. Ninjas with Jonin strength appeared here, obviously enemies, but Xiangren and the others were not strong enough to deal with such enemies, so they could only leave it to Yujao, who was the leading Jonin, to handle it. If it were before today, it would have taken a lot of effort for Xian to kill such a hostile Jonin, and he might not even be able to successfully kill the target. But now, a shadow flew out from the shadow under Xian's feet instantly. The shadow flashing in the sunlight, he attacked the Jounin who was meditating under the tree. Before the opponent could react, he was pierced through the heart by the shadow sword, and with a sharp blade, he even chopped off his head. Of course. All of this happened between the shadow and the shadow of the enemy Jonin. But the damage suffered by the shadow also acted on the enemy Jonin. So this guy didn't even know who the enemy was. Seeing it, he was easily killed instantly. The ability of shadow is so useful. Xian gently stroked the ninja sword in her hand, feeling sweet in her heart and filled with happiness. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 206. A few minutes later. In the courtyard. Xianglin and 3 others surrounded the target person, beating one against the other. There were more people than others and they bullied the few. The IWA ninja opposite was beaten completely and lost his temper, especially when there was a Konoha ninja who looked like a Jounin outside and was watching. He couldn't even run away. Damn it! Where is Lord Tijin? Why haven't you come yet? The IWA ninja thought anxiously. But he didn't know that the Lord Tijin he was looking forward to had already received his lunch. A few minutes later. Xiangren drank softly and used a water gun. Directly pierced the heart of this Iwagakuer. The dead Iwagakuer fell to the ground, and before he died, he was still questioning, why did Master Tijin not show up for a long time? Brush. Xian killed this Iwagakuer after the 3 of them after being a Chuyunin, he also appeared in the courtyard. The mission was completed, Sai collected the target's heads, and we went back. 11 Yan said lightly. Of course, collecting heads should be left to a boy like Sai. Is it possible that it should be left to Xiangren and Sakura? Sai nodded and then cut down the targets skillfully. Their heads were sealed in the scroll and taken away. Brush. 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 The figures of the 4 people disappeared into the yard one after another. By the time the bodies in the yard were discovered by the people in the town, they had already returned to the wood. On the way to Yet Ichiraku Ramen Restaurant. Uncle Shouta, have a bowl of tonkotsu ramen. Ryusuke Yagamai finished his morning exercise and came to Ichiraku Ramen for lunch. He hasn't been to Ichiraku Ramen for a while. But it still looks familiar here. The hand-beating boss still has that squinting look. The squinting expression always gives people an unfathomable feeling. However, Yagamai Ryusuke tried it more than a year ago. The hand-beating uncle is really just an ordinary person, not a legendary one. At Sutsuki Ichiraku. Ryusuke, it's been a long time since I've been here. What have you been busy with recently? Icarus took advantage of the break to greet the guests and came over to say hello to Ryusuke Yagamai. Ninjas, of course, are practicing. Ryusuke Yagamai laughed and said. What a hard work. It's obvious that he is already so strong. Kangpyo said with a smile. At this time, Uncle Shouta called her. I'm off to work. Icarus said. Then he turned around and helped his father. Soon. Yagamai Ryusuke's tonkotsu ramen was also seated. Iris brought it up. Please enjoy. Ryusuke Yagamai said thank you, then picked up the chopsticks and ate happily. The taste of Ichiraku ramen is still the same as before, and there is no change. Many people come to Ichiraku Ramen, and what they eat is actually a memory. Whether it is handmade by the current boss, or Zenjin's father, the ramen they make always seems to have the same taste. And this taste is the taste of memories. Therefore, Ichiraku Ramen will never lack customers. And there will always be new customers. It's like a kind of inheritance. Old customers will bring new customers to the door. When the new customers become old customers, they will bring new customers to the door again. Repeat and repeat. It will be passed down from generation to generation. As long as the taste of Ichiraku Ramen it remains unchanged. It can always be passed down from generation to generation in Konoha. I ate 6 large bowls of ramen for lunch. Yagami Ryosuke came out of the Ichiraku Ramen restaurant as if he was 7/10 full. As soon as he came out, I met Kakashi who was carrying a ninja sword. Yo! Kakashi seemed to be in good spirits and said hello to Ryosuke Yagami. Did you hand over the task of leading the team to your clone again? As soon as Kakashi saw Ryosuke Yagami appearing in the village at this time, he knew that he had asked his clone to lead the team on a mission again. After all, he had encountered Class 10 when he went out in the morning. He would leave in the morning. The village went on a mission. But Ryosuke Yagami, the leading jounin, appeared here now. The result was already obvious. Shikamaru and the others are already very good, so they don't need me to teach them much. Ryosuke, Yagami said with a smile. After chatting with Kakashi for a while, the two separated. Kakashi had just finished practicing and came to have lunch. Ryosuke Yagami had already finished eating and was ready to continue. Training ground, for afternoon exercise. However, Kakashi has been working really hard recently. Every day he is either practicing or performing tasks. It seems like he has returned to his youth. Even his old rival, Metkai, during this period of time, I couldn't find Kakashi, and I lamented that Kakashi had put me at a distance again. However, just listen to this. After all, others don't know the strength of Metkai. As a good friend, Kakashi wouldn't know this. As soon as the 7 gates are opened, the cage level kneels down. When the 8 gates are opened, no one loves him. The forbidden art of the 8 gates dungeon is no joke. Even Kakashi himself, he has secretly learned a few tricks from Metkai. However, he can only open up to 5 doors. If he has more than 6 doors, he cannot do it. Of course, this is mainly because Kakashi did not put more energy into. On top of that, the 8-gate dungeon is just an auxiliary for Kakashi. It is a trump card when facing tough and powerful enemies. The 5 gates are enough for him. The 6 gates do too much damage, which is actually not good. The key is, Kakashi's real strength now is swordsmanship. White Fang's swordsmanship is no joke. Back then, Konoha White Fang was also at the peak of the shadow level. And Konoha White Fang, who is known for his speed, even when facing fellow opponents at the peak of the shadow level can be suppressed, and even if they perform exceptionally, they can kill their opponents. Of course, the current Kakashi does not have such ability. But he will work hard to achieve this goal. In the past few years, he has already too much time was wasted. Now I wish I could use 1 minute as 3 minutes. Even for lunch, I just eat the simplest ramen instead of eating time-consuming barbecue, sukiyaki, and the like. Deep in the number 1 training ground. Taking advantage of some time to rest, Ryosuke Yagami first took out a small part of the remains of the sacred tree placed in the system's biopheromone warehouse. It was only a piece the size of a fingernail, anyway. Used to transform talent entries. Not too much is needed. As for the rest, Yagami Ryosuke didn't take out the rest. After all, once he transforms the remains of the sacred tree, then the remains of the sacred tree will be considered to have been transformed. Can no longer be stored in the system's biopheromone warehouse. By then, Yagami Ryusuke will have to find a place to store it. What a hassle. So, it is better to let it continue to stay in the system warehouse. Wait until the real when you can use it, it's not too late to take it out and use it. System, convert it? Ryusuke Yagami thought silently in his heart. Ding. Conversion successful. Congratulations to the host for getting the talent entry, Sacred Tree, Gold, what the 10 tails will look like when it grows up, Gold, I will become you when I grow up, Gold. 3 golden entries. Sure enough, the Sacred Tree can also be regarded as a 6th-level category. Ryusuke Yagami smiled and nodded. He was quite satisfied with this result. So, to read Bao's Huang novels, go to Fila Novel Network. In the past 3 days, he has added 9 golden entries. Plus the 3 of Tonari at Sutsuki in front. That's 12. It's amazing. When will the golden entries be available for wholesale? Yagami Ryusuke thought happily. While opening his own in the character panel, I found these 3 new entries. First click on the information of the Sacred Tree entry. Ryusuke Yagami looked up. Divine Tree, Gold dig on the big planet, dig a hole and I will plant a flower. Yes, I am the Sacred Tree, I speak for myself. Chakra add 1000%. Wood escape power add 1000%. Chakra recovery add 1000%. Comes with flowers and fruits. Blossoms and fruits, the blood succession snare ability can absorb various forms of energy. When the energy is accumulated to a certain level, it can condense into a divine tree fruit. By swallowing this divine tree fruit, you can obtain a chakra amount equivalent to 10,000 shadow levels. Ryusuke Yagami looked at the information in this entry with a question mark on his face. The first 3 attributes are quite normal. Although the introduction of the entry is somewhat informal. But it's okay, it doesn't affect anything. But what about this accompanying ability? The blood succession snare is quite powerful, but you're blossoming. With this entry equipped, am I going to turn into a human-shaped divine tree? Ryusuke Yagami couldn't help but picture his feet buried in the ground, then a big flower bloomed above his head, and finally a fruit. He quickly shook his head to get this disgusting scene out of his mind. What are you thinking? This is a bloody trap, and it's not really going to bear fruit. Ryusuke Yagami felt that he was thinking a little bit wrong. To be honest, the ability of this blood successor snare is just a little weird in name. But in fact, the effect is really powerful. It absorbs various forms of energy, although it did not specify which ones it is. But the guess is that it must include chakra and natural energy. What other kinds of energy are there specifically? You will know it on this equipment. Thinking of this, Ryusuke Yagami is directly equipped with this entry. As soon as the equipment is equipped, Yagami Ryusuke automatically acquires the ability of blooming fruit, the blood succession snare. And this ability is also very simple. It uses his own body as a medium to absorb various forms of energy, and waits until the energy accumulation reaches a certain level. After reaching a certain level, you can condense a divine tree fruit from your hands. It doesn't really have to bear fruit, it's just a metaphor. As for what energy Ryusuke Yagami is most concerned about absorbing? After obtaining the ability of this blood successor snare, Yagami Ryusuke also learned that it can absorb a lot of energy. Including Yagami Ryusuke had guessed before the arrival of chakra and natural energy, in addition to life energy, wind energy, thermal energy, kinetic energy, etc. It seems to be able to absorb almost all forms of energy that Ryusuke Yagami can think of. No, then I can absorb all the energy. Any attack hitting me is equivalent to charging me with energy. Ryusuke Yagami had a look of surprise on his face. But when he carefully looked at the ability of this blood successor, he found that things were not as good as he imagined. In fact, energy can indeed absorb so many kinds. But there is an upper limit for absorption. This upper limit does not refer to the upper limit for condensing a divine tree fruit after enough energy has been accumulated. After all, if this is the case, then at worst, when the upper limit is reached, Yagami Ryuzyuk will directly condense a divine tree fruit. Okay. Wouldn't it be great to be able to repeat it again then? In fact, what really affects this ability and prevents it from being truly invincible is the upper limit of absorption per unit time. To put it simply, it is the ability of this blood inheritance snare. There is an upper limit to the energy absorbed per second. It can only absorb so much in 1 second. If it exceeds it, Ryusuke Yagami has to bear it. And after a simple calculation, Ryusuke Yagami found that if it is an ordinary 6 paths level attacks, I can probably really ignore them completely. Because it does not exceed the absorption limit of this blood successor snare. But it is only limited to ordinary 6 paths level. That is, the strong ones in the early stage of 6 paths level. As for the middle stage of 6 paths level above, the excess will have to be borne by Ryusuke Yagami himself. It's not bad. This ability is mainly to repeatedly give birth to the fruit of the sacred tree. After all, one can increase the chakra equivalent to 10,000 shadow levels. Ryusuke Yagami did not feel disappointed. After all, the ability of this blood successor's snare is mainly to give birth to fruits, not for you to use it to fight. And even if it is not so good at fighting, it can ignore it. Past 6 levels of damage. For others, this is already amazing. That is Ryusuke Yagami, because he is already invincible at the 6 paths level. That's why I'm a little disdainful. I have to say, the first entry on the remains of the sacred tree gave Ryusuke Yagami a big surprise. Except that it feels a little weird to transform into a human-shaped sacred tree. There is really nothing wrong with this sacred tree entry. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 207. A good start. The excellent attributes of the entry Sacred Tree made Ryusuke Yagami look forward to the other 2 entries about the remains of the sacred tree. But to be honest, the names of the other 2 entries about the remains of the sacred tree are a bit strange. Especially the third one. I have no idea what the properties are related to. Then let's look at the second one first. Ryusuke Yagami immediately clicked on the second entry of the remains of the sacred tree. What the tentails will look like when it grows up, gold. Many people are looking forward to seeing what the young tentails will look like when it grows up. What will the originally naughty tentails look like when it grows up? Maybe it will turn into a tree. Chakra add 1000%. The power of the tailed beast add 1000%. Comes with Tentails Chakra mode. Tentails Chakra mode, turn on this mode after obtaining the Tentails Chakra, which can strengthen your own strength in all aspects by 500%. Excellent. When Ryusuke Yagami saw this entry, this was the first word that popped into his mind. Although the entry What the Tentails will look like when it grows up has one less attribute than the previous entry Sacred Tree. But the Tentails Chakra mode it comes with is really excellent. It would be even better if it didn't have the premise that the Tentails Chakra is needed. Fortunately, the Tentails Chakra is not difficult to obtain. Ryusuke Yagami now has the chakra of the 4-tailed beasts in the sealed space within his body. 5 more and they can be fused into the Tentails Chakra. When the time comes, you can use the ability 363. And, just imagine. If Ryusuke Yagami first unlocks the power of the sealing contract, then turns on the Rinnegan Chakra mode, then turns on the Tentails Chakra mode, and finally adds the all-round strength bonus of the entry. To what extent does the strength have to explode? 6. So invincible. This entry is indeed excellent. It's a pity that Ryusuke Yagami's body cannot withstand such torture. Even though his body had increased by 3000% yesterday, Ryusuke Yagami also tried it. even after the physical fitness is improved. At most, he can only support 20% of the contract power to be unlocked. That is to say, you will get 20 times the combat power bonus. Certainly. If you count 8 times the number of entries, it adds up to 160 times. However, the power of this tailed beast, is it the tailed beast's chakra that's increased? Or the destructive power of tailed beast chakra? Ryosuke Yagami has no doubts about the other two attributes, but this second attribute is somewhat confusing. However, as long as you have the equipment, don't you know? So Yagami Ryosuke directly equipped this entry. In an instant, first, the chakra in the body increased a lot. Later, Ryosuke Yagami discovered that the chakra of the tailed beast in his sealed space had also increased tenfold. It increases the chakra of the tailed beast. Ryosuke Yagami thought to himself. If there is no Ten-Tails chakra mode, this attribute is actually useless. It is better to be the first to increase the amount of chakra of Yagami Ryosuke himself. But considering that the Ten-Tails chakra mode will increase the amount of chakra. To consume the chakra of the Ten-Tails, it is necessary to increase the chakra of the tailed beast. The amount of the chakra of the Ten-Tails merged in this way will be even larger. How huge is the chakra of the Ten-Tails? To put it simply, the chakra of the Ten-Tails is almost the sum of 5,000 cage level chakras. When the Ten-Tails grows up and turns into a sacred tree, the fruits of the sacred tree condensed will double on this basis. And if Konomi Ryosuke fuses a Ten-Tails in his body in the future, then the amount of chakra of this Ten-Tails will be at least 55,000 cage level. After all, it is increased by 10 times. And this is by no means the limit. After all, Yagami Ryosuke, the chakra of the tailed beast in the sealed space, is improving every second. There's only one entry left. I don't know what the attributes of this strangely named entry are. Yagami Ryosuke thought to himself, then he directly clicked on the information of this entry. When I grow up, I will become you. Gold the Dragon Slayer will eventually become a new dragon. When I grow up, I will become the new you. Chakra add 1000%. The power of the tailed beast add 1000%. Comes with Ten-Tails chakra. This entry, looks like the last one. Yagami Ryosuke's first feeling was, why are the two entries so similar? The first two attributes are exactly the same, but the abilities attached to them are different at the end, but they are both related to the Ten-Tails. The previous one was given the Ten-Tails chakra mode. And this entry gave Yagami Ryosuke the Ten-Tails chakra he lacked. This. Are you complementing each other? Ryosuke Yagami really wanted to say, these two entries are really the Crouching Dragon and Phoenix Chicks in the entry world. It's almost meaningless to be apart from anyone. Equip this entry. Suddenly, in the sealed space inside Yagami Ryosuke's body, a higher quality tailed beast chakra suddenly appeared. Although this Ten-Tails chakra only has a little bit. The quantity is pitiful. But the moment it was born, it began to crazily devour the chakra of the other four-tailed beasts around it. And the chakra of the four-tailed beasts showed no intention of resisting or struggling at all. It was simply swallowed up by it. A few minutes later, the original four-tailed beasts no longer existed in the sealed space inside Ryosuke Yagami's body, replaced by a small ten-tailed beast. The Ten-Tails stood blankly in the sealed space. At the same time, the chakra of the four-tailed beasts and the chakra of the Ten-Tails were being born every second in the sealed space. They will all be absorbed by this small Ten-Tails. And then continue to strengthen itself. This fuses into a Ten-Tails. Ryosuke Yagami also shook his head. He had previously thought about whether to let the wooden clone pretending to be Uchiha Menma to get the chakra of the other five-tailed beasts. Now it seems that it is no longer necessary. In the sealed space in his body, the chakra of this Ten-Tails is naturally far inferior to that of the real Ten-Tails. After all, it only absorbed the chakra of the four-tailed beasts, and the chakra of the nine tails is not complete. but its own chakra the number has reached almost 1,500 shadow levels. Coupled with the bonus of the entry, the amount of chakra of this Ten-Tails has directly increased to the standard of 31,500 shadow levels. This is already a true Ten-Tailed. It is more than 6 times that of the Ten-Tails. So even though the Ten-Tails looks small in the sealed space inside Yagami Ryosuke's body, in fact its chakra is much larger than the real Ten-Tails. Not bad. Come try it and see what the Ten-Tails chakra mode is like. Ryosuke Yagami also became interested in hunting, and he quickly teleported himself to an unknown space using Hirazaka. Then he activated the Ten-Tails chakra mode. Boom! In mid-air, Ryosuke Yagami's body rose into a black and red his arrogance. Moreover, the nails on his hands turned black, and he could even control the growth of his nails and grow nails as sharp as claws. Is this the Ten-Tails chakra mode? Ryosuke Yagami looked at his current appearance. It feels similar to other chakra modes. However, the Ten-Tails chakra mode can use the ability of the Ten-Tails ten-tailed beast jade. Of course. Ryosuke Yagami it is impossible for a human to form a tailed beast jade in his mouth like a tailed beast. It felt a bit weird. Suddenly, he raised his right hand high, and a black-red energy gathered in the palm of his hand, forming a huge ten-tailed beast jade. As Yagami Ryosuke threw the ten-tailed beast jade, after it flew tens of thousands of meters, it landed directly on the ground and a huge explosion occurred. Boom! A huge ball the mushroom cloud slowly rose. Ryosuke Yagami flew in the sky, feeling the strong wind blowing against his face. After a while, to read Bao's Huang novels, go to Feel a Novel Network, everything returned to calm. The same thing happened on the ground in the distance. A huge crater with a diameter of more than hundreds of kilometers appeared. The range of influence of the ten-tailed beast jade is really large. Ryosuke Yagami thought to himself. This range is much larger than his immortal technique, the Great Spiral Wheel. But the huge crater is hundreds of kilometers in diameter, and the range covered by the explosion shockwave has a diameter exceeding 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers. With such a large area of influence, let alone destroy a small country. Even a country like the Kingdom of Water. If the ten-tailed beast jade is fired, it will be gone on the spot. After all, the land area of the Water Kingdom is the smallest among the 5 major countries. As an island country in the sea, the land area of Water Country is even larger than that of Sichuan country next door. Certainly. In terms of strength, the Kingdom of Water is definitely far stronger than the Kingdom of Sichuan. But strong or not, in front of the ten-tailed beast, everyone is equal. Not bad. Ryosuke Yagami gave an evaluation. After all, his current strength is invincible at the 6th level. This simple ten-tailed beast jade in the ten-tailed chakra mode has a pretty good evaluation, which is already a big deal. The destructive power just now. After all, it is just like the other 9-tailed beasts. When it appears directly in the form of a tailed beast, its strength is always not as good as that inside the Jinchuriki body. The strength in a fully stimulated state. The Ten-Tails chakra mode is a thorough development and utilization of the Ten-Tails chakra. It can maximize the effect of the Ten-Tails chakra as much as possible. From the red portal after walking out, Ryosuke Yagami also returned to Konoha. The 3 entries converted from the remains of the sacred tree today are quite good, whether it is the sacred tree that can allow Ryosuke Yagami to transform into the human form of the Ten-Tails. Entries. They still complement each other, like the Crouching Dragon and Phoenix Chicks in the entry world, the 2 entries what the Ten-Tails will look like when they grow up and I will become you when I grow up. Although there are not many attributes. But they are both very useful. Especially the emergence of the Ten-Tails chakra mode. It has raised Ryosuke Yagami's ultimate combat power to another level in the future. Although it cannot yet exert this effect. But it will definitely be used in the future. Next days. Because the 6th level biopheromone has been used up, Yagami Ryusuke no longer frantically converts 3 golden entries every day like he did in the previous few days. It is as if the golden entries can be wholesaled. Time 1 days passed. Ryusuke Yagami transformed 1 entry every day, but when he turned around, he decomposed it and turned it into experience points. In this way, more than half a year passed quickly. Ryusuke Yagami and the other genin of this generation were all 14. In the past half year or so, the ninja world has been relatively peaceful, with nothing major happening. Yagami Ryusuke has also been staying quietly in Konoha. Except for occasionally leaving the ninja world in Hirazaka, go to other places. Except for testing some abilities in the unknown space. Nothing happened in 4.2. However, in more than half a year, Ryusuke Yagami used purple entries to synthesize a golden entry. But this time his luck was not good. Okay. The synthesized golden entry is also rubbish. So I don't have any equipment, so I'm going to save it and wait for the next garbage golden entry to appear, and then see if I can synthesize another god level entry. Speaking of god level entries, 3 of the 5 golden entries that Yagami Ryusuke had hung up before have been successfully upgraded to 3 god level entries more than a month ago. The attributes are quite explosive. And the other 2 will also be available this afternoon. Reaching the experience value limit, thereby upgrading from a golden entry to a god level entry. At this time, Yagami Ryusuke is staring at the 2 entries on the 2 idle positions. Looking forward to their upgrades. Time flies by, seconds passed. Soon, as the last bit of experience was injected, these 2 golden entries also completed their first transformation in a bright brilliance. From the original golden entries, they were upgraded to a higher level god level entry. The attributes have been greatly changed. In this way, I now have 6 god level entries. Ryusuke Yagami looked happily at the 6 god level entries on his character panel. He even divided them into a separate area. The god level entries and the god level entries were together, and the golden entries along with the gold entries, the other purple entries were squeezed to the bottom. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 208. 5 upgraded golden entries. Destiny's Son. Azura's kindness. Indra's resentment. The man recognized by Madara Uchiha and the last legendary Sunin. These 5 entries have changed drastically now. Certainly. It has become better and stronger. Rather than worse or weaker. Child of Destiny, Gold, you are the beloved child of destiny in the legend, so you can always turn danger into good fortune when facing danger, and luck is always with you. When encountering fatal danger, your strength will be at 500% in all directions. Add 1000 chance that your enemy will be unlucky %. This is the attribute of destined child before the entry is upgraded. And after upgrading, Son of Destiny became the entry Lord of Destiny. The level has been upgraded from gold to god level. Lord of Destiny, God, you are the legendary master of destiny. Your destiny will be controlled by yourself. No one else, not even God, can control your destiny. All-round strength add 6000%. Can be switched manually, those who are your enemies will show their strength in battle. Minus 80%. To be honest, Ryusuke Yagami was shocked when he saw the attributes of this entry for the first time more than a month ago. Although the total bonus value of this god level entry is only 6000%, which is not as high as the 9000% of the God of Space entry, the key point is that if Ryusuke Yagami has to make a choice, he will choose it without hesitation. The former is 6000%, not the latter 9000%. The reason is very simple, that can increase all-round strength 60 times. Only a fool would choose the latter. Moreover, even though the bonus value is only 6000%, you can't ignore the latter attribute. Although the value of this attribute is only 80%, the key point is that this thing actually reduces the effectiveness of the enemy's strength. In other words, anyone who is an enemy of Ryusuke Yagami will only be able to exert 20% of his original strength in the battle with Ryusuke Yagami. This suddenly plummeted by 4/5. Originally, Ryusuke Yagami was extremely powerful. Now it has increased its all-round strength by 60 times. As a result, you have to reduce the opponent's strength. Under this situation, let alone the 6th level, even the strong ones above the 6th level are probably far from being the opponents of Ryusuke Yagami. After all, this entry has no strength limit at all, which means it doesn't matter how strong the opponent is. It will be reduced by 80% without discrimination. Just so domineering. Just say that titanium doesn't change to titanium, right? Anyway, even the owner of the entry Yagami Ryusuke himself couldn't help but feel that the attributes of this entry were too titanium. It simply doesn't give others a way to survive. The cheating has gone so far that I don't even have to perform a performance. You know, in the past 6 months or so, Yagami Ryusuke's physical fitness has improved a lot on the original basis. After all, he is now growing up. From the age of 13 to 14, his physical fitness has been soaring. My current physical fitness has improved by almost 2/3 compared to more than half a year ago. This is an improvement on the basics. Ryusuke Yagami has tried to unblock the power of contract before. With his current physique, he can directly unblock 33% of the power of contract. That is a 33 times strength bonus. Then multiply 33 times by 63 times. 2079 times. Yes, it broke 4 digits. Ryusuke Yagami's strength can reach 2079 times his normal strength after unlocking 33% of the power of the contract and then turning on the strengthening effect of the entry. And Ryusuke Yagami's normal strength is the peak of the 6 paths level. Turn on 33% of the power of bond, and you will be invincible at the 6th level. It can kill any peak 6 level expert in an instant. One blow to explode the star, easily. And with all states fully activated, with a 2079 times strength bonus, even Yagami Ryusuke himself didn't know how powerful he had become. Anyway, it is easy to instantly kill yourself in the 6th level invincible state. Even if a large group comes, you will die. And this only calculates the bonus of the 2 god level entries, God of Space and Lord of Destiny. Don't forget, Ryusuke Yagami still has 4 god level entries that haven't been included. If all this is taken into account, even Yagami Ryusuke himself doesn't know how strong he is. In short, looking at the entire Naruto world, he has no opponent among the known strong people and the strong ones that Yagami Ryusuke guessed may exist. And apart from that, the attributes of Yagami Ryusuke's other 4 god level entries are not bad at all. Although not that strong, after all, the Lord of Destiny has increased all-round strength. This is also the entry attribute Yagami Ryusuke wants most in the future. He found that the attributes of this entry were really powerful. Of course, the premise must be that Yagami Ryusuke's own foundation is strong enough. Otherwise, he is just a rubbish genin. Even if he is strengthened 2079 times, he will still be rubbish. Fortunately, Yagami Ryusuke's foundation is strong enough. After all, the foundation of the peak of 6 paths is no joke. Lord of Destiny, this entry should be the strongest god level entry I have seen so far. Yakami Ryuja said heartily, while his eyes also fell on another god level entry. Indra's resentment. Gold Indra was resentful because of his father's preference for Azura. His resentment in dozens of reincarnations was unmatched. I power at 500%. Suzanu's size at 500%. The power of the pupil technique is at 500%. Chakra at 1000%. This is the attribute of Ryusuke Yagami's god level entry Indra's resentment before its upgrade. After the upgrade, the name of the entry has not changed. This is different from the entry Lord of Destiny. Indra's resentment, God Indra was resentful because of his father's preference for Asura. His resentment in dozens of reincarnations was unrivaled. Eye power at 3000%. The power of the pupil technique is at 3000%. Chakra at 4000%. Attached, 6-path Susanoo. 6-path Susanoo, the power far exceeds the ultimate power of the complete Susanoo. If the complete Susanoo is the ultimate power of the Sharinan, then the 6-path Susanoo is the ultimate power of the Samsara Eye. One of the forces. It is the ability of blood succession snare level. Obviously, the upgraded entry Indra's resentment is also very powerful. The bonus to the overall attribute value has reached 10,000%. It has a 1000% bonus compared to the God of Space entry. Secondly, the accompanying ability is also a power at the level of the blood succession snare. It is called one of the ultimate powers of the Renegan in the entry. With 6 paths as the prefix, one can imagine how powerful the 6-path Susanoo is. Amazing. It is definitely a more powerful godly power that far surpasses Ryusukyagami's previous Susanoo. Uchiha Madara's mighty Susanoo, in front of Ryusukyagami's 6-path Susanoo, is an ant on the ground that can be easily trampled to death. It's not a dimensional power at all. To read exciting novels, go to Feel a Novel Network. After all, the powerful Susanoo has super cage level invincible power. Compared to Senju Hashirama's immortal technique of 1000 hands, it is slightly worse. The Senju Hashirama is already half a step into the 6th level of power. And what about Ryusukyagami's 6-path Susanoo? With Ryusukyagami's basic strength at the peak of the 6th path, using this move can unleash an invincible power of the 6th path. In terms of strength, it is comparable to the power of the 33% unsealed contract. It is conceivable how amazing the power of these 6-path Susanoo is. The increase in Yagami Ryusuke's strength is at least 33 times. None of the god-level entries are invariable. Ryusuke Yagami sighed inwardly, and then clicked on the information about the third god-level entry. Asura's kindness. Gold. The kind-hearted Asura always hopes to bring peace to the world with his own hands. His innocence and kindness can infect others, but sometimes it also brings trouble to himself, and a kind heart. His heart also brought him enough power to change the world. Physical fitness add 1000%. Resilience add 1000%. Natural affinity add 1000%. Chakra add 1000%. Comes with a human body. Asura's mercy. This golden entry had very strong attributes before evolution. For 1000% bonus attributes, plus a fairy body. But after evolution, its power is not inferior to the previous Indra's resentment. Asura's kindness. God. A kind Asura is always. Physical fitness adds 6000%. Chakra adds 6000%. Comes with the body of God. Body of God, God. Have endless lifespan. God. Have a strong physique. God. Possessing the power to destroy the body and regenerate the soul. God. Possessing the power of annihilation of the soul but immortality of the true spirit. And now you are God. Asura's mercy. The attributes of this entry are relatively simple. There are two numerical attributes, one for physical fitness and one for chakra. But the numerical value is quite explosive. The total bonus reached a further 12,000%. What's more, the body of God that comes with it turns into titanium. It doesn't matter if he has an endless lifespan. After all, Atsutsuki's physique is also immortal and his lifespan is unlimited. But the powerful physique has made Ryusuke Yagami's basic physique directly reach 10 times the original basis after the upgrade of this entry. You need to know, this 10 times, and the physical fitness added by subsequent entries, are superimposed by multiplication, not addition. That's what's scary about it. Ryusuke Yagami's physique is already very strong. With the addition of the entry, he can unlock 33% of the power of the contract. But now, it has increased tenfold, and the physical strength has increased by 5,000%. Ryosuke Yagami can now directly unlock 100% of the power of the contract without worrying that his body will not be able to bear it. 100% of the power of the contract is unlocked, which can increase Yagami Ryosuke's strength by an astonishing 19,000%, which is a full 190 times. This is just an increase in the power of the contract. If you include the 63 times the entry bonus, a full 11,970 times. As early as before, Yagami Ryosuke was already a little confused about his own strength. This is even 2079 times, let alone 11,970 times. It's completely impossible to imagine what level of power it is. Does the world of Naruto really allow such an unnatural species to exist? Anyway, Yagami Ryosuke himself has never tried it. He only tried the state of 100% unblocking of the power of contract and then superimposing the Rinnegan chakra mode. In this state, he just exploded with momentum and completely the planet that Ryosuke Yagami was on, which was 2 or 3 times larger than the ninja world, was shattered. However, Ryosuke Yagami has such amazing physical strength now. I want all 3 modes on. That is, the 100% unsealed power of the contract and the reincarnated eye chakra mode and the tail chakra mode, which is also a bit weak. But it will probably be increased by 2 or 3 times, or 4 or 5 times. You can completely activate all 3 modes. At that time, it will be superimposed with a 63 times stinging bonus. Forget it? Ryosuke Yagami didn't even bother to forget it. Anyway, that's it for being invincible. To be honest, for Ryosuke Yagami, who is already invincible, if he were dozens or hundreds of times stronger than he is now, it wouldn't actually mean much. Certainly, Ryosuke Yagami will not refuse that his strength can be stronger. After all, the water in Naruto's world was far from being completely revealed in the previous life. Is there a stronger being than the Otsutsuki clan in the universe of Naruto world? This is still unknown. Therefore, when we say invincibility, we mean invincibility in Ryosuke Yagami's perception. But the universe is too big. Too many planets. Is Otsutsuki strong? But what if there is a civilization stronger than Otsutsuki? Certainly. Yagami Ryosuke had to admit that that was only a small chance of happening. The greater probability is that in the world of Naruto, Otsutsuki is the ceiling. There is no one stronger than the Otsutsuki clan. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 209. The man recognized by Uchiha Madara, Gold Eye, Uchiha Madara, would like to call you the strongest. Master Ben approves, a golden sign. From now on, you are Uchiha Madara's approved man. Physical power add 1000%. Physical fitness add 1000%. Resilience add 1000%. Comes with lossless 8-door Dungia, 6-door. This is the first unorthodox entry among Ryosuke Yagami's many entries. It is also a golden entry drawn from Metkai. Its upgraded god-level entry also has very strong attributes, although it is somewhat less interesting than the previous 3. But it also fits the criteria of a god-level entry. The man, God, that even Uchiha Madara admires, you are the man that even Uchiha Madara admires. Your reputation is so great that all living beings in the ninja world follow your example. Physical power add 4000%. Physical fitness add 4000%. Comes with 6 paths and 8 doors Dungia. 6 paths 8 gate Dungia, stronger than the 8 gate Dungia. There are no side effects of 8 gate Dungia. Even if the door of death is opened, there will be no death. But it has extremely strict requirements on physical fitness. Attribute value 8000% bonus, neither high nor low. The advantage lies in its concentration. And both attributes are needed by Ryosuke Yagamai. After the power of physical skills reaches the 6th level, especially in the later stages of the 6th level, physical skills have actually become the mainstream. Because other techniques are easily restrained. But only physical skills are difficult to restrain. Not to mention physical fitness. Tiger Bomb properties. It will never go out of style. What's interesting is that Ryosuke Yagamai previously speculated that this entry would become a lossless version of the 8-gate dungeon after it was upgraded. At first, he speculated that it might open 7 gates without damage. Later it was speculated that Wushang might open 8 doors. But later, Ryosuke Yagamai stopped guessing. Because his strength was invincible at the 6th path level at that time. I'm too lazy to guess these things. And now it seems. Yagamai Ryosuke guessed wrong twice. This is neither the 7-door opening without injury nor the 8-door opening without injury. Instead, he directly changed it to a more advanced 8-door dungeon. Anyone with a 6-way prefix is an advanced version of the ability of the same name. This 6 paths and 8 doors dungeon is no exception. Its effect is much more powerful than the normal 8-gate dungeon. A normal 8-door dungeon, even if it opens the death door, will still erupt with 6-level destructive power, and it is not at the later stage of the 6-door level. In the eyes of Ryosuke Yagamai, he is actually very ordinary. But the 6 paths and 8 doors dungeon are different. 6 paths and 8 gates dungeon, if all 8 gates are opened, can allow an ordinary super shadow to burst out with 6 paths level invincible combat power. And it has no side effects. You won't die even if you open 8 doors. It has extremely high physical requirements. The ordinary shadows mentioned above are ninjas who have reached the level of ordinary shadows by virtue of their physical skills. And the limit of this 6 paths and 8 doors dungeon is that it can allow the user to reach the quasi-god level. Ryosuke Yagamai also learned after obtaining this entry that in the world of Naruto, after the 6 paths level, there is actually a god level. Although many people claim to have the power of God before this. For example, the ninja god Senju Hashirama. Hanzo, the demigod of Yuyin village, is the mountain pepper fish. And Nagato, the leader of the Akatsuki organization, calls himself a god. The Otsutsuki clan even claims to be a clan of gods. But in fact, no matter which one they are all false gods. The true god level is far stronger than the 6 paths level. In fact, the title of 6 paths level is only found in the ninja world. Outside of the ninja world, there is actually no such thing as the 6 paths level, there are only god level and non-god level. Those below the god level are collectively referred to as non-god level. Most members of the Otsutsuki clan are non-gods. But they prefer to call themselves quasi-gods. A quasi-god is also a god. At least it sounds much better than non-god level. Certainly. When outside the Otsutsuki planet, these Otsutsuki generally like to call themselves gods, but this is just talk outside. It is a sign of oral pleasure. In fact, they know very well that they are still far from reaching god-level strength. Looking at the entire Otsutsuki clan, there are only 3 gods. It is precisely because of the existence of these 3 truly god-level warriors that the Otsutsuki clan can plant sacred trees everywhere in the universe and will not be hunted down by powerful warriors from other civilizations. After all, god level is already the real ceiling in the world of Naruto. It belongs to a level that only a very small number of existences can reach. The 6 paths and 8 gates dungeon can make an ordinary 6 paths level strong man temporarily reach the quasi-god level strength. That is far more powerful than the 6 level invincible. So, my current strength is already at the god level. Ryosuke Yagamai blinked. It turns out that I am already a god level boss. Once upon a time, Ryosuke Yagamai was still working hard to reach the 6 paths level. Unexpectedly, how long has it been since? I am already far away. After breaking through the 6 levels and reaching the true ceiling of the Naruto world. Naiubi. After silently praising his efforts, Yagami Ryusuke also clicked on the information about the last god level entry. 6 god level entry, this is the last one. To be honest, if Yagami Ryusuke were to choose again now, he would definitely change 1 or 2 entries to upgrade to god level. For example, this entry for Worker Soul. They are also entries that increase all-round strength, and are of great upgrade value. Or the entry Power of Contract. There is no doubt that Contract is powerful. If it can be upgraded to the god level, it will only be even more powerful than it is now. 190, is it twice as strong? If you upgrade to the god level, it will most likely reach 1900 times. Or even more. This is called true power. Moreover, Ryusuke Yagami is not sure where his strength belongs among the god levels. Is it considered strong among the gods? Or is it just average? It shouldn't be weak, right? I don't know how many gods the Otsutsuki clan has. There shouldn't be any, right? Ryusuke Yagami thought to himself, while focusing on the entry of Legendary Sunin. Legendary Sunin, Gold, the Legendary Sunin of Konoha, the inheritors of the 3 holy places in the ninja world, and the pioneers of the era, the backbone of the future. He is also the creator of legends. Physical power at 800%. Ninjutsu power at 800%. The power of magic at 800%. Comes with perfect fairy mode. The entry of Legendary Sunin, the attributes before upgrade are actually very powerful golden entries. Otherwise Ryusuke Yagami would not have chosen to put it on the idle position to upgrade it. Its 3 numerical attributes are all very good. The power of physical skills. The power of ninjutsu. Plus a magical power. All attributes are focused on attack, which is very powerful. Plus the included perfect fairy mode. However, this perfect sage mode is no longer useful to today's Ryusuke Yagami. This thing overlaps with the Samsara Tsanjian Chakra mode. On the other hand, the Ten-Tails Chakra mode surprisingly does not overlap with the Rin Niseigan Chakra mode and can be turned on at the same time. Very nice. After upgrading, the legendary 3 Ninja, which became a god level entry, also became extremely powerful, not even losing to the 2 god level words Azura's kindness and Indra's resentment. Strip. Legendary Sunin, God, the Legendary Sunin of Konoha. Physical power at 3000%. The power of the pupil technique is at 3000%. The power of magic at 3000%. Comes with 6 Paths Immortal Mode. 6 Paths Immortal Mode, strengthen your own strength by 1000% in all aspects. Can be integrated with other modes. To read Bao's Huang novels, go to Fila Novel Network. 6 Paths Immortal Mode, not the 6 Paths Immortal Mode. Although there is only 1 point difference in the middle, they are indeed 2 completely different abilities. The 6 Paths Immortal Mode is an upgraded version of the Perfect Immortal Mode. I don't know exactly how many levels it has been upgraded to. Anyway, upgraded. In this mode, Ryusuke Yagami's all-round strength can be increased tenfold. And, the most crucial thing is here. It can be integrated with other modes. Achieve an effect of 1 add 1 greater than 2. For example, it can be combined with the Rinnegan Chakra mode to form the 6 Paths Rinnegan Chakra Sage mode. The Rinnegan Chakra mode itself can increase the strength by 12 times. With the addition of 6 Paths and Immortal mode, it should be 22 times. But in fact, it is 30 times. The extra 8 times is the improvement in the qualitative change produced after the fusion. In addition, the Ten-Tails Chakra mode and the Rinnegan Chakra mode, which were originally unable to fuse and could only coexist, were under the domineering fusion ability of the 6 Paths Sage mode. You can directly combine 3 modes into one. Become the 6 Paths and the Rinnegan Ten-Tails Chakra Sage mode. The name is a little more complicated. The main reason is that Ryusuke Yagami directly merged the names of their 3 modes together. If I have to give it an abbreviation. Ryosuke Yagami thought about it and thought it would be pretty good to call it the God Form mode. In the God Form mode, Yagami Ryosuke's all-round strength can be increased by 60 times. This is a lot more than the three modes combined. Although not 190 times the power of the contract. But that's because the power of contract has a tenfold bonus to entries. Otherwise, where would it be 190 times? Moreover, 190 add 60, that's 250 times. Add the 63 times bonus of the entry, which is a full 15,750 times. Such strength, in the realm of God, it shouldn't be just average, right? After all, it's a top level, right? Or, near the top. Maybe we can go to Otsutsuki planet to see it later. Ryosuke Yagami touched his chin and thought. After all, without a suitable reference, it's okay for him to make random guesses. If there is a god-level strongman as a reference, Ryosuke Yagami can also touch it. Do you know what level your current strength is? However, is this god-level entry about the legendary Sunin definitely referring to Tsunade, Orochimaru and Jiraiya? Ryosuke Yagami expressed doubts about this. If we talk about the entry of the legendary Sunin before the upgrade, it must be about the three of them. Then the entry of the legendary Sunin after the god level, Ryosuke Yagami is very doubtful about the legend here. The three ninjas are not talking about Tsunade and the others at all. They are three other stronger six-path ninjas. For example, Saunaru. Who is the third one? Six-path sage. After all, the bonus of this entry is body jutsu, senjutsu, and pupil jutsu. It's okay to say that taijutsu and senjutsu have existed before. But what happened to pupil jutsu? Did Orochimaru turn around and turn Uchiha Sasuke successfully? Good money. That's impossible. That's why Ryosuke Yagami thinks so. Look, the senjutsu is from the Sage of Six Paths, the pupil technique is from Sasuke, and the taijutsu is from Naruto. Naruto's taijutsu is also very strong. Or maybe the senjutsu is from the Sage of Six Paths with Naruto, the pupil technique is Sasuke, and the taijutsu is all three people? All 5 hang-up slots are cleared. Of course. More than a month ago, Yagami Ryosuke has put 3 new golden entries in the front. 3 AFK slots are available. Now only the 2 AFK slots at the back are freed up. Just as Ryosuke Yagami was thinking about which 2 golden entries to put on the AFK slots, he continued to upgrade. Suddenly a system prompt sounded in my mind. Coming. Ryosuke Yagami's eyes lit up. Ding. If the host obtains more than 5 god-level entries, the system will start a version update in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. 3 seconds passed, a version update progress bar appeared in Ryosuke Yagami's mind. 1%, 2%, 3%. It jumps almost once a second. A full minute or so. The system update has just been completed. Ding. System update completed. Hosts are welcome to experience the new version 3.0 system. The new functions have been launched. Please enter the system interface to check it out for yourself. The original functions have been upgraded, please enter the system interface to check it yourself. After the reminder sounded in his mind, Ryosuke Yagami couldn't wait to open the system interface. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 210. The character interface of the system is still the same as before, no different from the previous version 2.0. However, the original idle slots have been increased from 5 to 7. The last update also added 2 locations. Same thing this time. There are still 4 seats available at the moment. After a while, Ryusuke Yagami has finished checking the contents of the system update, and then he will choose 4 golden entries to hang them up. In addition, the daily experience points obtained by the idle function have also been increased 10 times that before the update. Therefore, the golden entry that originally took more than a year to upgrade now only takes more than a month to complete. This is definitely great news for Ryusuke Yagami. After all, he now has so many golden entries. If it takes more than a year to upgrade each one, then shouldn't it be idle for many years? Now it's good, 7 golden entries can be hung up at once, and they can be upgraded in more than a month, and then a batch will be replaced. Even if Ryusuke Yagami's golden entry is not old or young, it may even continue to increase in the future. But just change a few batches, and it will take less than a year for them all to be upgraded to God level entries. Now, can't all Ryusuke Yagami's entries be upgraded to God level entries? From now on, the God level entries will begin. Of course, if the purple entry is idle, the experience points gained will be greatly reduced. But it also requires less experience points to upgrade. A golden entry needs to be idle for more than a month before it can be upgraded. If it were a purple entry, it would only take about 10 days. How fast? Therefore, when the time comes, upgrade the purple entries to gold entries, and then upgrade the upgraded gold entries to God level entries. It doesn't take a year or two. Ryusuke Yagami's entries have all become God level. This is no pipe dream. Before the system update, this timeline would have been stretched 10 times. In addition to the increase in on-hook positions, the gain in on-hook experience has been improved. Yagami Ryusuke also discovered a decomposition interface next to the original synthesis interface. This should be a new feature added after the system update. Ryusuke Yagami curiously clicked in to check. He was still thinking before, if this decomposition function doesn't overlap with the decomposition ability of the system itself. But after clicking in, Ryusuke Yagami realized that he was still narrow-minded. Coincide. There is no overlap at all. And, this feature is awesome. The new decomposition function, simply put, is to directly decompose the biological pheromones that can be converted into entries and convert them into experience values. Moreover, during the decomposition process, the loss of experience value is only a very small 10%. In other words, a biological pheromone originally coming from a certain jonin can be converted into a blue entry. And decomposing a blue entry can gain 100 experience points. By directly putting this biopheromone into the decomposition machine, you can save the intermediate step of converting the entries and directly gain 90 experience points. This seems to be Ryusuke Yagami's loss. But in fact it is not. Because the decomposition machine can decompose 100 copies of biopheromone every day. If these 100 biopheromone are all pheromones that can be converted into blue entries, then 9,000 experience points can be obtained. 9,000 a day, 90,000 in 10 days, 900,000 in 100 days. Normally, one entry is converted every day. Although there is number 10% loss, it takes Yagami Ryusuke 100 days to decompose these 100 blue entries and gain 10,000 experience points. If you had to choose, what would you choose? Anyway, Ryusuke Yagami will choose to use the decomposer. Decompose 100 copies of biopheromone in one day and directly gain 9,000 experience points. In this way, he no longer needs to accumulate the pitiful experience points every day like he did before, saving them for several months and half a year before taking them out to use the synthesis function. Now, if the decomposition machine decomposes 100 copies of jonin's biological pheromones a day, you can directly gain experience points equivalent to 90 synthesis opportunities. Isn't this a good deal? What a bargain! However, Ryusuke Yagami quickly thought of another question. That is, after the efficiency of the on-hook function is improved, does he still need the synthesis function? It takes just over a month to upgrade a golden entry to God level. Is there something wrong with using the synthesis function again? After all, he had to wait for more than a month and get 7 God level entries without doing anything. So why synthesize it? Synthesis costs experience points and 2 lower level entries. Isn't this very cost effective? In the past, synthesis was cost effective because the time span of on-hook upgrades was long. But now the time span has been shortened 10 times. How come the synthesis function is not cost effective? Just when Ryosuke Yagami was thinking about this problem, he suddenly realized that he seemed to be able to place the God level entry of the equipment into the free idle slot. This discovery immediately surprised Ryosuke Yagami. You know, after the upgrade of the 3 entries Lord of Destiny was completed, Yagami Ryosuke also tried to place them on the idle position and continue to hang up, but at that time he found that he could not do this at all. But now, it actually works. What does that mean? Are there new, higher level talent entries above the God level? So this system update not only adds a new function of the decomposer, but also increases the upper limit of the level of the entry. Yagami Ryosuke seemed to have discovered a new world. He was overjoyed and quickly placed the 4 God level entries on the 4 empty on-hook slots. At the same time, he also placed the original entries on the other 3 on-hook slots. 2 of the golden entries were removed and replaced with the remaining 2 God level entries. In this way, Yagami Ryosuke's 7 idle slots became 6 God level entries and 1 golden entry. And the only golden entry is the entry power of contract. After all, the importance of this entry is self-evident. It must be promoted to the God level first. And the other 6 positions are all gave it to Ryosuke Yagami's only 6 God level entries. If Ryosuke Yagami hadn't only had 6 God level entries, the AFK slot currently belonging to Power of Contract would have been occupied by Ryosuke Yagami. Ryosuke took it out and put a new God level entry on it. After all, the higher the entry level, the higher the benefits of hanging up. After the system update, the gold entry's daily benefits of hanging up are 2,400 experience points. From the gold level, upgrading to the God level requires 100,000 experience points, which means it takes 42 days. Less than a month and a half. The benefits of hanging up with God level entries are much higher than those of gold entries. You can get 5,000 experience points in 1 day worth the profit. However, upgrading a God level entry to the next level, Super God level, it requires a full 10 million experience points. To read Bao's Huang novels, go to Fila Novel Network. It is golden to upgrade to God level 100 times. Yagami Ryosuke wanted to curse at the huge increase. If calculated based on this upgrade experience, even if it is 5,000 experience points a day, it would take enough to upgrade a God level entry to a super God level entry. More than 5 years. Isn't this too long? Ryosuke Yagami did some calculations in his mind, and couldn't help but frown after coming to this result. In this case, is it really cost-effective to put a God level entry on the idle position? Originally, the golden entry would take 42 days to complete upgrade to God level. Over 5 years, 2,000 days, more than 47 rounds can be alternated. In other words, 329 golden entries, CGCJ, can be upgraded to God level entries. Now, Ryosuke Makoto Yagami, do you want to give up the choice of 329 God level entries in more than 5 years, and instead choose to spend more than 5 years giving 6 idle positions to these 6 God level entries? Then only 1 idle position can be used golden entry? It's over. This only hang-up position may have a new God level entry in 42 days. In this case, wouldn't Yagami Ryosuke have to wait more than 5 years before he starts to the rest of the gold entries and purple entries have been upgraded to God level? This is too long. No, you can't hang up the God level entries first. Although the income is high, it is not cost effective. Ryusuke Yagami immediately moved down the 6 god level entries on the AFK position and put the previous golden entries. In this way, more than a month later, he would be able to harvest 7 god level entries. As for the upgrade from god level to super god level, doesn't it have a synthesis function? I was thinking that the synthesis function would be retired before. Now it seems that it is not used for the time being. At that time, the god level entries that are not very useful can be synthesized. Ryusuke Yagami thought to himself. The synthesis function is the most conscientious function of the system. Not only because synthesis can choose to give up the synthesis results, but also because the cost of synthesis will not increase as the level of the terms you synthesize increases. It doesn't matter whether you are a blue entry or a high-level entry. They treat you equally and only charge 100 experience points. This was before the system was updated. Ryusuke Yagami just clicked into the synthesis interface to take a look. He found this after the system update, the synthesis function, which is such a conscientious function, has also been reduced in price. From the original synthesis that required 100 experience points, it now only requires 50 experience points. This has been reduced by half. Synthesis is quite cheap. Now that it's half the price, it's even more cost-effective. To be honest, Ryusuke Yagami even feels like the system is doing charity. Of course, experience points still have to be spent, but they cost less. And I don't know what is the success rate of synthesizing this god level entry into a super god level entry. However, after the system update, the synthesis function has not only been reduced in price, but the success rate of synthesis has also been improved. Although the improvement is not much. But no matter how little it is still an improvement, right? It can reduce the cost of synthesis to some extent. Although 50 is not much at a time, but it will be done 100 times, 1,000 times. It is also a lot of experience value. Let's break down a wave of biopheromone first. Ryusuke Yagami immediately took out 100 copies of the biopheromone in his biological information warehouse that could only be converted into blue or even green entries. Then he put it into the decomposition machine and let it be decomposed. Soon, Ryusuke Yagami gained 9,000 experience points. This system update will have a great impact on Ryusuke Yagami's future strength improvement. Not only has the upper limit of the entry level been increased by 1 level. It's also because the improvement of idle efficiency allows Yagami Ryusuke to quickly obtain a large number of god level entries. According to the 23 golden entries currently equipped by Yagami Ryusuke, and 1 unequipped golden entry, that is, 24 golden entries calculated by terms. He only needs to wait 168 days, which is more than 5 months, less than half a year, to obtain 24 new god level entries. In this way, his total number of god level entries can be increased to 30. Then upgrade the purple entries to get more gold and god level entries. In other words, within half a year, Ryusuke Yagami's strength will also experience a surge. After knowing the 6th level when he reached the god level, Ryusuke Yagami was a little worried, wondering whether there would be a top god level strongman among the Itsutsuki clan. Or even the kind of god level invincible existence. But now, Ryusuke Kami realized that he had nothing to worry about. Because no matter how strong the opponent was, half a year later he would be able to overtake him or even crush him. Ryusuke Yagami had 30 god level entries in his hand. Who was still him? Opponent. Let me ask, who else? Next, just wait quietly for 42 days, and then you can harvest 7 god level entries. Ryusuke Yagami glanced at the 7 hang-up slots on the character panel, and then closed the panel. It was just over a month, it passed quickly. And now, Ryusuke Yagami has a more important thing to do. He raised his head and looked at the gate of the Hyuga clan in front of him, and then walked into the clan under the respectful eyes of the two Hyuga ninjas who were responsible for guarding the gate. Today, Ryusuke Yagami was invited for the first time. I have come to Hinata's house for dinner 7 times. The first time, there was an idiot old guy who was not clear-headed and came out to cause trouble. But since that time, the elders of the Hinata family have all behaved themselves. Now, I know that Ryusuke Yagami is not a young man they can control based on his seniority. Instead, he is a tiger that may choose someone to eat at any time. So, when necessary, tough measures can solve many problems. If Ryusuke Yagami appears to be weak and easy to bully, these old guys from the Hyuga clan would probably be standing on top of him and yelling at him. Not like now. They would even take the initiative to line up at the front of the queue. Come and greet them. Their attitude is so good, as if they are all the grandsons of Ryusuke Yagami. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 211. Ryusuke Yagami came to Hinata's house for dinner. It was actually an ordinary family dinner. There won't be any crowds. The people here are all members of my own family. Sisters Hinata and Hanabi sat next to Ryusuke Yagami, one on the left and one on the right. Then on the other side are the Hinata and Hizu couple. Because Ryusuke Yagami has been here many times, the Rizu couple are already very familiar with him. During the dinner, Hinata suddenly mentioned something about Ryusuke Yagami and Hinata. Ryusuke, you and Hinata are not too young now. It may be a little early to get married. How about getting engaged first? While chatting, Hinata suddenly mentioned the engagement. Hinata, who was sitting aside, couldn't help but blush. Her father had mentioned this matter to her. Hinata meant that it was all up to Yagami Ryusuke. Hinata, who knows her daughter's character very well, knows that she has to ask Ryusuke Yagami about this matter. If Ryusuke Yagami is willing, then the engagement matters can be handled. After all, Hinata is a member of the Hyuga clan. The eldest lady is engaged, so naturally she can't take it lightly. There will definitely be a banquet for the guests. Not to mention that all the respectable people in Konoha will come, and even some people outside Konoha who have contacts with the Hyuga family, wealthy businessmen and the like, will also be invited to come. At that time, a special event must be held. Not only because of their status and identity of the Hyuga clan, but also because of the status and identity of Ryusuke Yagami. Got engaged? Yagami. Ryusuke paused with the chopsticks in his hand, then looked at Hinata beside him and said, Hinata, what do you think? Hinata, blushing, whispered, I listen to you. Yagami Ryusuke nodded after receiving the answer, and then said to Hinata, Hizu, in that case, everything will be done according to the customs of your Hyuga family, Uncle Hizu. Hearing this answer, the faces of Hinata and Hizu also showed happy smiles. They were afraid that Ryusuke Yagami would not be willing to get engaged so early. Or maybe they were worried about whether Ryusuke Yagami was really willing to marry Hinata. In the past, they had to consider whether to accept Ryusuke Yagami. But now, what they have to consider is whether Ryusuke Yagami is willing to accept their Hyuga clan. This is a manifestation of the gap in status and strength. Continue, come down. Hinata Hizu also told Yagami Ryusuke some of his arrangements and asked him if he had any opinions. As for Hinata Hizu's arrangements, Yagami Ryusuke only made a few small suggestions, but Hinata Rizui wrote it all down seriously, and planned to follow Yagami Ryusuke's suggestion when the time comes. It was around 10 o'clock at night. Yagami Ryusuke came out of the Hyuga clan. Hinata and Hanabi sisters followed him next to him and sent him to the door. Okay, you go back and rest, it's getting late. Ryusuke Yagami said to the two sisters. Well, then you should go to bed early. Hinata nodded and looked at Ryusuke Yagami in front of her. She was still thinking about what they had talked about during the meal about their engagement. Goodbye, brother-in-law. Hanabi waved her little hand to say goodbye to Yagami Ryusuke. Then she took her sister's hand and the two sisters returned to the clan. Yagami Ryusuke also smiled slightly, then turned and left. Engagement, he thought to himself, unknowingly he has reached this age. 14, in the ninja world, he is no longer a child or a teenager. Going to the battlefield at the age of 6 or 7 is normal in the ninja world, and many people get married at the age of 12 or 3. Of course. For people with status, they will not get married so early. But it is usually around 15 or 6 years old. 14 is not too early to get engaged. However, since we are going to get engaged, it is better to make an appointment together. Ryusuke Yagami thought to himself. Just getting engaged to Hinata would inevitably make Ino and the others feel uncomfortable. Ryusuke Yagami has always been used to a bowl of water being served flat. So, since he agreed to marry Hinata and Hinata is engaged, then Ino and the others have to make arrangements. As for Ino, the Yamanaka clan has its own customs, so it will be better to follow the customs of the Yamanaka clan. As for Kaoru, you can ask her about this in 2 days. My own opinion. As for Yujao and the 3 eldest sisters, Yagami Ryusuke can't guarantee it. They may not want to have a grand party, but they may just invite some close relatives and friends, and then inform each other. Just a simple one will do. You have to ask them for their own opinions on this. Anyway, Ryusuke Yagami will take care of all the engagement matters this year. This is also the most important thing he has to do this year. Got engaged. The next day, when Mother Yagami Mitsuki heard the news that her son was getting engaged to Hinata, a happy smile appeared on her face. To be honest, Yagami Mitsuki had been looking forward to the day when her son could start a family. It's here. I have even fantasized about holding my grandchildren countless times. Thinking that her son is finally engaged to Hinata, the eldest Hyuga lady, Yagami Mitsuki is also very happy. By the way, what about Ino and the others? After Yagami Mitsuki was happy, she also thought of her son's other girlfriends. This was her own son. If she had placed this on others, she would have long complained about why this man is so carefree, picking up women everywhere, and being a complete scumbag behavior. But when it comes to his own son, then Mitsuki Yagami just wants to say one thing: my son is awesome. I'll ask them for their opinions in the next 2 days and then decide based on the situation. Ryusuke Yagami took a sip of soup and said, well, you just need to know it in your heart. Women are all emotional. Remember to hold a bowl of water flat. It's better to remember it in your heart even if you don't say it with your mouth. Yagami Mitsuki said. After all, she is also a woman, so she also understands other women very well. Therefore, she also reminded her son a few words, telling him not to worry about one thing and the other. Don't worry, Mom, this kind of thing will never happen to your son or me. Ryusuke Yagami said with a smile. Hearing this, Mitsuki Yagami also rolled her eyes at her son unhappily. However, this boy's ability to coax women is indeed as good as his strength. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to have so many girlfriends openly. This point. Yagami Mitsuki has also thought about this several times. Who is he following? Neither she nor her husband, who has been dead for many years, seems to have this kind of character. Could it be that they follow the previous generation? It's around 9 a.m. Ryusuke Yagami found Anko. After all, among his girlfriends, Hongdu is the most empty one. Others like Hong, Xian, and the others. Everyone has something to do. After a week, I don't have a day or 2 off. In other words, Hongdu rests 5 out of 7 days a week. None of the ninjas in Konoha, not even the genin, had such free time as she did. It seems that a certain Hokage-sama is even more empty than her. Of course. Tsunade had something to do, but she took the initiative to push it aside. Even sneak away secretly. Narashikaku and Shizun were helpless, they felt guilty for having such a Hokage on their hands. And Hongdu, to read Bao's Huang novels, go to Filu Novel Network. That is really empty. There's really nothing to do. Every day I just eat, drink, or practice. However, Hongdu is not particularly active in practicing. Basically, it's like 2 days of fishing and 3 days of drying nets. A very Buddhist lifestyle. When she heard Ryusuke Yagami mentioning the engagement to herself, Anko immediately expressed her rejection. Stop it, it's so troublesome. Hongdu looked resistant. How about we simply invite some friends over for dinner and have a brief chat? Sure enough. Anko is just like Ryusuke Yagami thought, she doesn't want to make a big deal. This is okay, but when you get married in the future, you can't do this again. Ryusuke Yagami said. It's okay to get engaged, but if you get married, you definitely can't just invite guests casually and then notify the people around you. That's too casual. Okay, I'll let you decide about the wedding, but that's it for the engagement. In fact, it doesn't matter whether you're engaged or not. Hongdu said with a carefree look. Her character is indeed like this. She doesn't care much about this kind of thing. Got engaged? Sure. In the evening, Ryusuke Yagami made an appointment with 11 Yan, Xiangren, and Hong to come to his home to discuss the engagement. I told Hongdu during the day. Hongdu meant that she didn't want to make a big deal, so she could simply treat her to a guest and then talk to some good people around her. But Hinata and Ino will almost always do something grand. What's your opinion? Yakami Ryusuke asked the three of them. At present, they are the only 6 girlfriends who have officially confirmed their relationship with Yagami Ryusuke. Of course. They are not the only women who have some ambiguous relationships with Yagami Ryusuke. But said to be honest, falling in love is also a time-consuming and energy-consuming thing. 6. Yagami Ryusuke is already a little busy. If all 17 or 8 of them confirm the relationship. Seriously. Yagami Ryusuke felt that his 24 hours a day was not enough to allocate to his girlfriends. Then he didn't have to do anything about his own affairs. Therefore, some relationships were a bit ambiguous, and Yagami Ryusuke did not take the initiative to make it clear. There is no rush anyway. He is only 14. His future lifespan is already unlimited. There is plenty of time, so you can take your time. As for them, don't forget, Yagami Ryusuke's tender reincarnation control ability. You can easily help them solve the problem of lifespan. No need to worry about this. In my words, it has the same meaning as red beans. Zihihong said. She is not the kind of person who likes to make big things, and there is no one else in the Yui family. It's not a big cause for everyone, so there is no need to make a big deal. Simply treat some friends with whom you are close, just give me a notice. I think so too. 11. Yan nodded, she also had the same opinion. I don't want to make it big either. Xiangren saw that both sisters had spoken, and quickly expressed that she would follow in the footsteps of the 2 sisters. In fact, for Xiangren, all she needs is to be with Yagami Ryusuke. Is there a name? She doesn't care at all about dividing things up. You guys. Ryusuke Yagami shook his head, I guessed that you might have this idea. If that's the case, then we can simply invite some friends to our home for a meal, and then announce the matter. Sure. Zihihong nodded and said, and if you ask me, you don't have to invite them again and again. You can just invite them all together. Xian and Xianglin on the side said that this is a good idea. It will save you the trouble again and again. Ryusuke Yagami. Others are men who don't want to do anything big, but for Ryosuke Yagamai, it's a woman who doesn't want to do anything. In fact, we even planned to treat 4 people together. The reason turned out to be that it would be too troublesome to invite them separately. Ryosuke Yagamai also couldn't laugh or cry. However, he also knew that Zien and the others were also thinking about him. In addition, they really don't want to make a big deal. Whether it's Hong or Zien, they don't have any relatives around them. Unlike Hinata and Ino. A big family and a big business. Even if they don't want to make it big, their parents will definitely not agree. But Hong and the others are different. It's all up to you. Now that they have decided to do it simply, Ryosuke Yagamai is also ready to start planning in advance. Who will be invited to dinner then? On what day is the time set? These must be determined in advance. However, these are simple and not particularly complicated. Ryosuke Yagamai and the others discussed it and finally decided. The next day, Ryosuke Yagamai had the rare opportunity of not letting the wooden clone lead Team 10 on a mission. Instead, he gave Team 10 a day off and then went to Ino's house. I discussed the engagement with Ino and her parents. Really? The Yamanaka family is also planning to do something grand. And they seem to have heard the news that Ryosuke Yagamai is getting engaged to Hinata. It was probably released by the Hyuga clan. Therefore, when Ryosuke Yagamai mentioned getting engaged, they seemed to have already made a plan. Yagamai Ryosuke listened to it and felt that there was no problem, so he agreed.